Welcome to Mystic Realms Recap. Please like, share, and subscribe. Enjoy today's episode.
Only now did the people present realize that this Manhwa was concealing his strength during the battles earlier. He wasn't a first-level core formation martial artist. He was actually the fourth second-level core formation martial artist present besides Xiaoyu, Linhua, and Li Qing. Second level of the core formation stage. Li Qing's pupils constricted. His state of mind was obviously startled by Manhwa's sudden change. Devastating Ox Fist. Manhwa's full force punch had even denser origin energy. Dark Nether Finger. Origin energy twisted around Li Qing's right index finger and condensed into a bizarre origin energy whirlpool. Then he pointed out his finger as if all his energy was gathered on it. This finger strike touched Manhwa's fist. Suddenly, Manhwa's expression focused as his body flew backwards, causing a surge of piercingly cold wind. Manhwa's eyes flickered with intelligence as he said indifferently, as expected of the Li clan's famous high-grade profound rank martial skill, Dark Nether Finger. You were able to cultivate it to the mastery stage, so your comprehension is really good, but a Dark Nether Finger only at the mastery stage. I'm afraid it's unable to defeat me. Bulls **T. Li Qing shouted harshly as his body flashed, seeming to transform into a gust of wind blowing towards Manhwa. At this moment, Manhwa turned around and pounced towards the side. He's going for the weapons. Instantly, many people perceived what Manhwa was planning. Manhwa was precisely moving towards the weapon racks. Humph! Seeing this, Li Qing didn't pursue but instead stood on the spot. To him, even if he pursued and won, it would still be an undignified victory, so he disdained doing so. What he wanted to do was to defeat his opponent head-on. Only then would he be able to trample on his opponent's dignity, receive gazes of veneration from the surrounding spectators, and satisfy his conceited heart. Whoosh! Manhwa lifted his hand and grabbed a weapon off the weapon rack. A black iron rod. Li Qing moved. Swimming dragon steps. He flashed towards Manhwa as if transforming into a dragon that was swimming swiftly like a flash and drawing upon the forces of wind and lightning. Come at me. Manhwa released a loud shout as the black iron rod in his hand shook, lightly trembling. Thousand Shadow Rod. Instantly, the black iron rod trembled and was swung out along the course of Manhwa's hand. A string of rod shadows descended straight towards Li Qing, who was moving towards him, menacingly approaching. That's all you got? Li Qing's feet stomped on the ground in a hurry, avoiding the black iron rod as he pointed his finger out. His finger strike tore through space as it went straight for Manhwa. Dark Nether Finger. If his finger that contained a whirlpool of origin energy were to touch Manhwa, the consequence would be obvious. Don't get happy too early. Manhwa smiled indifferently. An ominous premonition arose in Li Qing's heart. Whoosh! A strong gust of wind came from behind. Li Qing's expression distorted as he hurriedly withdrew his dark nether finger and exerted strength with his legs. Swimming dragon steps. Not only that, he even instantly circulated his defensive martial skill. Golden bell cover. Bang! The black iron rod menacingly approached and shattered the defensive chi barrier on the surface of Li Qing's body, descending upon his back and blasting him flying. Bang! Li Qing was unable to maintain his balance and dropped to the ground in a sorry state. His back faced the sky while his face faced the ground, eating a mouthful of dust. Manhwa glanced at Li Qing as he indifferently said, "The middle-grade profound rank defense martial skill, Golden Bell Cover, at the mastery stage isn't enough to withstand my 1000 Shadow Rod. But it was fortunate that you circulated Golden Bell Cover in time and nullified half of the force from 1000 Shadow Rod. If you hadn't, this rod strike would have been more than enough to shatter your spine. Right? Bear in mind not to insult others as bumpkins. Your current circumstances would only cause others to think you're even inferior to a bumpkin." The flames of annihilation and fierceness disappeared from Manhwa's eyes, and his serious expression quickly returned to his earlier straightforward appearance. If everyone hadn't experienced the resolute and ruthless side of him earlier, they might really be cheated by his harmless appearance. You. Li Qing had only just recovered slightly from his injuries with the assistance of a grade 9 gold injury pill. Hearing what Meng Quan said caused him to nearly faint from anger. I didn't expect Meng Quan's strongest move to not be his middle-grade profound rank martial skill, devastating Ox Fist, but the high-grade profound rank 1000 Shadow Rod, and his 1000 Shadow Rod seems to have stepped into the mastery stage. In our Aurora City, only the Li clan possesses the 1000 Shadow Rod, right? Could it be that he has some sort of relationship with the Li clan? He was so blunt to Li Qing. Do you really think he has any relationship with the Li clan? I nearly forgot about that. Satisfying. This Li Qing said that we were bumpkins earlier, but now he's even inferior to a bumpkin. Ha. The young geniuses of the smaller clans had expressions filled with pride and satisfaction as they looked at Li Qing. Li Qing's expression turned even uglier, gloomy to the point that it seemed that water would drop out. Li Qing looked at Meng Quan as he said, in a cold voice, "Meng Quan, don't be complacent. I was only careless earlier. If not for that, you might not have been able to defeat me." As far as he was concerned, his offensive martial skills and movement technique were on par with Meng Quan's. The reason he lost was because he was prejudiced by his first impression of Meng Quan and looked down upon him. What? Do all of your Li clan members like to act shamelessly? If it was a life and death battle earlier, and I followed up my victory by pursuing you, you would undoubtedly have died. Meng Quan laughed. Yeah, even if you were careless, that is your problem. One of the young genius from a small clan couldn't help himself from speaking in support. Humph. In the Hidden Dragon List competition, victory is decided in a single battle, so I will naturally abide by this rule. But after today, I will sooner or later find you for a battle and wash away the shame of today. Li Qing grunted. You think I will waste more of my physical strength on you? This won't do. I'm hungry again. Meng Quan quickly ran back into the pergola and started gulping down the light refreshments inside, causing the people present to be amazed. Could it be that this Meng Quan was the reincarnation of a hungry ghost? This Meng Quan is interesting. Duanling Tian shook his head and laughed. Hurry up and tell the truth. Did you notice since the beginning that he was at the second level of the core formation stage? Li Fei looked towards Duanling Tian with an expression that said, leniency to those who confess and severity to those who resist. Duanling Tian heaved a sigh and said, with a slight lingering fear, Little Fei, you're not even my wife yet, and you already have the appearance of a household affairs manager. Heh, if you become my wife in the future, won't I be entirely controlled by you? Go to hell. Li Fei gave Duanling Tian a glare before extending her delicate, jade-like hands to pinch his thigh. Duanling Tian's face turned green. In the innermost pergola on the star observation platform. Brother, you saw through Meng Quan since the beginning, right? And you didn't even warn me, causing me to go and bring misfortune to myself, Xiaoyun said, slightly dissatisfied. Little Yun, my intuition told me he wasn't simple. As for the matter of him being at the second level of the core formation stage, even I only found out when he fought Li Qing. Xiaoyu shook his head. Duanling Tian. Just at this moment, a voice broke the momentary silence of the star observation platform. Lin Qi flew out and his gaze descended upon Duanling Tian. Duanling Tian's eyebrows raised. Under the gazes of everyone present, Duanling Tian unhurriedly walked out of the pergola and slowly walked to face Lin Qi. Compared to the way Lin Qi made an appearance, it formed a distinct contrast. A body-tempering martial artist will always be a body-tempering martial artist. Even if the rumors were even more exaggerated, it wouldn't change the fact that he's only a body-tempering martial artist. Many youth geniuses from the smaller clans glanced at Duanling Tian in disdain. Of course, their eyes obviously emitted a trace of envy. The corner of Duanling Tian's mouth had a faint smile on it. He guessed the reason why these people were against him. That little girl, Li Fei, was really a source of trouble? Duanling Tian, rumors say you can exert the strength of 3 ancient mammoths by merely relying on your 9th level body tempering cultivation. Today, I really want to experience it for myself. Lin Qi looked at Duanling Tian as his battle intent increased. That would depend on whether you're capable of forcing me to use the strength of 3 ancient mammoths. Duan Ling Tian smiled. Lin Shi had a serious expression but didn't reply. His body flashed as he exploded forth with his full strength of 2 ancient mammoths. Traceless snow steps. Duan Ling Tian noticed that Lin Shi, who had broken through to the first level of the core formation stage, had a speed increase of an entire 2 times compared to the speed he had when he fought with Duan Ling Tian the other day. But Lin Shi's high-grade profound rank movement technique, Traceless Snow Steps, was still at the initial stage. However, Duan Ling Tian's movement technique had already broken through to the mastery stage. Spirit Serpent Movement Technique. Duan Ling Tian moved. He suppressed his strength to around 19,000 pounds, so the second ancient mammoth silhouette didn't appear. As the spectators saw it, he was only using the strength of 1 ancient mammoth. However, relying on a strength that was 1,000 pounds lower than Lin Shi. In terms of speed, Duan Ling Tian's mastery staged Spirit Serpent Movement Technique utterly defeated Lin Shi's initial staged Traceless Snow Steps. F***K. I admit defeat. Lin Shi pursued Duan Ling Tian for a moment, but after noticing that he was completely unable to catch up to him, he couldn't stop himself from spouting out a vulgarity. He was clear of Duan Ling Tian's skills. Under the condition that he was unable to catch up to Duan Ling Tian could easily defeat him. Since he knew the ending, he didn't continue to persist. Persisting would only lead to an even greater loss of face. Duan Ling Tian, your movement technique seems to already be higher than my traceless steps by a stage. Lin Shi glanced at Duan Ling Tian. Nice insight. Duan Ling Tian grinned. The strength this guy used earlier was absolutely approaching the strength of 2 ancient mammoths. Lin Shi thought in his heart. He realized that Duan Ling Tian was purposefully concealing his weakness. What movement technique did this Duan Ling Tian execute? He only used the strength of 1 ancient mammoth and was able to be faster than Lin Shi, who exerted the strength of 2 ancient mammoths. My speed is inferior to his. I'm inferior as well. The young geniuses of the smaller clans didn't dare to look down upon Duan Ling Tian anymore. Does anyone else wish to provide their guidance? Since he was already in the arena, Duan Ling Tian didn't plan to leave straight away. After all, walking up and down was quite tiring. Li Qing's expression was gloomy. He wanted to battle Duan Ling Tian, but his injuries still needed a while longer to heal. Duan Ling Tian, you won't be complacent for long. Li Qing took a deep breath as he swore in his heart. I'll try. A figure flashed over from afar, descending in front of Duan Ling Tian. Manhwa. There's a common saying, hunting a tiger requires the cooperation of brothers. Looks like you plan to imitate our forefathers, Manhwa. Duan Ling Tian lightly smiled. Manhwa, the Lin Chan's top disciple in the younger generation. The 9th ranked in last year's Hidden Dragon list. Duan Ling Tian and Manhwa stood confronting each other. The gazes of the people on the star observation platform were all focused on them. Manhwa, 18, second level of the core formation stage, the top disciple in the Lin clan younger generation. Duan Ling Tian, 16, 9th level of the body tempering stage, the Li clan's second place in the younger generation. Manhwa's strength was widely known. However, this Duan Ling Tian was a figure that was like a comet suddenly appearing on the horizon. Allegedly, he could exert the strength of 3 ancient mammoths by merely relying on his 9th level body tempering cultivation. Xiao Lan blinked her beautiful clear eyes as she asked, Brother, who do you think will win? I favor Duan Ling Tian. Xiao Yu's cold face had a rare smile on it. Xiao Yun besides him didn't interrupt this time. She looked at Duan Ling Tian full of interest. This rascal. Li Fei lightly grit her teeth as her eyes that were clear as water looked at Duan Ling Tian. Let's start this. Manhwa nodded to Duan Ling Tian, after which his body flashed. Swift lightning steps. Manhwa's body flashed accompanied by the sound of thunder striking, approaching in full fury. Noticing this, Duan Ling Tian moved as well. Spirit Serpent Movement Technique. His entire body seemed to transform into a spirit serpent as he scurried towards Manhwa. Eat this. Linhwa shouted in a low voice. His hand was like palm leaf fan as it slapped down abruptly. Heaven's net palm. Linhwa's palm descended like a net that covered the heavens and earth, enveloping Duanling Tian within and causing him to be unable to flee. The hearts of the people present trembled as they saw this scene. Linhwa's heaven's net palm had almost completely enveloped Duanling Tian's upper body. Just when everyone thought Duanling Tian could only choose to fight Linhwa head-on. Whoosh! Duanling Tian's body inclined to a degree that seemed like he would fall flat at any moment. This scene caused everyone's heart to be in their throats. Duanling Tian's body that was about to touch the floor jerked and abruptly stood up straight. Then it seemed to transform into a spirit serpent as he leapt behind Linhwa. He actually dodged it. On the star observation platform, every gaze was filled with disbelief. Is this Duanling Tian human? Able to complete a movement of such high difficulty? Collapsing fist. Duanling Tian fixed his eyes on Linhwa's back and his gaze turned cold. His entire body seemed to bend into a heavy bow as he swung out a straight punch with force that was exerted like a landslide, causing a surge of shapeless wind. Linhwa's eyes flashed with astonishment. Feeling the wind coming from behind him, he increased his speed. The strength of 3 ancient mammoths completely exploded forth. Swift lightning steps. His speed surged as fast as lightning, dodging Duanling Tian's collapsing fist with ease. Duanling Tian, if you want to defeat me, merely relying on a strength that's close to the strength of 2 ancient mammoths isn't enough. Linhwa noticed with a glance that Duanling Tian was purposely suppressing his strength. Duanling Tian didn't reply. His body flashed once more. Instantly, 2 ancient mammoth silhouettes appeared above him. 29,000 pounds of strength exploded forth. He was only 1,000 pounds of strength short from forming the 3rd ancient mammoth silhouette. Spirit Serpent Movement Technique. Instantly, Duanling Tian's speed experienced an increase. He was not one bit slower than Linhwa's swift lightning steps. In terms of movement techniques, his Spirit Serpent Movement Technique and Linhwa's swift lightning steps were both high-grade profound rank movement techniques, and both were cultivated to the mastery stage. In terms of strength, he was only 1,000 pounds weaker than Linhwa, so his speed was not visibly slower than Linhwa's. Eat this! Accompanied by the sound of thunder, Linhwa once again rushed towards Duanling Tian, slapping out a palm that raged with origin energy. Heaven's net palm. This time, the net formed of palm silhouettes that covered the heavens and earth nearly completely enveloped Duanling Tian's entire body, causing him to have no way out. Duanling Tian can't dodge it this time. Many people on the star observation platform thought in their hearts. Li Fei's heart rose to her throat as well. Under everyone's gazes, Duanling Tian, who was in a sticky situation, finally moved. His hand flashed past his waist. Sword drawing arts. A violet sword shine appeared. OM. The flexible sword in Duanling Tian's hand seemed to have grown a pair of eyes as it directly slapped towards a sword silhouette at the side. Bang! The flat side of the sword slapped out and a clear ringing sounded. Linhwa's face distorted. Swift lightning steps. He hastily retreated. The sharp pain coming from his palm caused Linhwa to unconsciously flip his palm over and take a glance. On his palm was a 2-finger-wide bruises caused by a sword blade. This scene was caught by many of the people present. Oh my god, Duanling Tian actually broke Linhwa's heaven's net palm with a single sword strike. Unbelievable. No matter whether it was the young geniuses of the 3 families or the young geniuses of the smaller clans, they all presently had an expression filled with disbelief. I lost. Linhwa was stupefied for a moment before glancing at Duanling Tian with a face filled with a bitter smile. He understood that Duanling Tian had showed mercy. If Duanling Tian hadn't used the flat side of the sword but used the blade instead, his palm would surely have been sliced in half. It was a good fight. Duanling Tian smiled to Linhwa. The surrounding young geniuses didn't dare look down on Duanling Tian anymore. A martial artist at the 9th level of the body tempering stage, exerting the strength of 2 ancient mammoths. It was absolutely unbelievable. Not only that, He even relied upon the strength of 2 ancient mammoths to defeat Linhwa, who was at the second level of the core formation stage. Duan Ling Tian, no wonder the rumors say that your sword skill is marvelous. Seeing it today, its reputation is well-deserved as expected. Xiao Yu walked out in large strides. Xiao Lan and Xiao Yun followed behind him. At this moment, the two girls looked at Duan Ling Tian with gazes that emitted a trace of admiration. In terms of age, this Duan Ling Tian was younger than them. Brother Xiao, you're too kind. Duan Ling Tian lightly smiled. His gaze descended upon Xiao Lan, who was beside Xiao Yu, and nodded to her. My brother rarely gives out praise, Duan Ling Tian. You're worthy of it. Xiao Lan smiled beautifully, like a fairy that had fallen to the mortal realm. Yeah, brother Yu has never once praised me. Xiao Yu deeply approved. Then I'm even more terrified. Duan Ling Tian laughed. Rascal. A sweet fragrance invaded his nose as a young girl with a devilish body and angelic appearance arrived beside Duan Ling Tian. Her hands secretly arrived at Duan Ling Tian's waist, lightly twisting. A sharp pain descended. The corners of Duan Ling Tian's mouth jerked. This overly jealous girl. Brother Xiao, I expended some physical strength earlier, so I'll go get some rest first. Duan Ling Tian smiled to Xiao Yu. He could imagine how if he was slightly hesitant, Li Fei would surely use even more force. Yeah, Xiao Yu, among the young geniuses on the star observation platform, it seems like only you and Lian haven't had a battle yet. Why don't the two of you have a battle? Li Fei suggested. I naturally have no problem with that, but I wonder if Lian would grant me this honor. Xiao Yu looked at the nearby Lian. Young Master Yu, spare me, please. How could I be a match for you? Lian hurriedly shook his head in disapproval. Xiao Yu's eyebrows knit. What he disdained the most was the type of person who didn't even have the courage to fight him. In his opinion, this person wouldn't have any great achievement in their lifetime. Besides natural talent and comprehension, courage was the most important trait for a martial artist. Xiao Yu. Just at this moment, a white-clothed, proud, and aloof figure returned to the arena. Li Qing. Li Qing's gaze swept past Li Fei, just in time to see her walking away shoulder to shoulder with Duan Ling Tian. His expression was ugly, and his gaze turned grim and cold. Xiao Yu naturally caught Li Qing's actions. Li Qing, have the injuries from your battle with Manhwa healed? Xiao Yu asked, as he was reluctant to take advantage of him. It's only external injuries. They all healed after I consumed a grade 9 gold injury pill. Li Qing nodded. His gaze was still cold and grim. Okay. Xiao Yu nodded. Then he moved to confront Li Qing after asking the two girls beside him to stand back. Then let's start. Xiao Yu looked at Li Qing. His cold figure was unmovable like a mountain. It was as if he was waiting for Li Qing to make the first move. Li Qing's gaze descended upon Xiao Yu. If I can defeat Xiao Yu, Fei Fei will surely hold me in high esteem. So much so that she might leave Duan Ling Tian and choose me, Li Qing thought in his heart, his gaze fanatical. Battle intent rising. Defeat Xiao Yu. Swimming dragon steps. Li Qing's body jerked as he fully exerted his strength of 3 ancient mammoths and rushed towards Xiao Yu. He noticed that Xiao Yu standing before him without any intention of making a move. Xiao Yu, I'll defeat you in one move. Li Qing's gaze was cold as his hand shook and swept past the sky in full fury. Dark nether finger. His origin energy condensed into a whirlpool at the tip of his finger as he pointed it out, whistling through the air as it approached Xiao Yu. Right at the instant Li Qing attacked, Xiao Yu moved. Above him, 2 ancient mammoth silhouettes appeared. He shook his sleeve as he moved to intercept Li Qing's dark nether finger. Instantly, Li Qing's expression distorted. He noticed that his finger strike seemed to have hit a ball of cotton. He had absolutely nowhere to exert the force within. In the next moment, he realized the danger involved and hurriedly withdrew his hand. It's too late. A cold voice entered Li Qing's ears. Instantly, Li Qing's sight turned black and he was blasted flying by Xiao Yu's sleeve, shocking his internal organs and causing him to feel something rush forth into his throat. The pride in his heart made Li Qing forcefully swallow this mouthful of blood. What a strong martial skill. Duan Ling Tian was slightly moved. Xiao Yu's action of swinging his sleeve seemed casual, but in reality it contained a terrifying martial skill which countered strength using softness. It was virtually identical in nature to Tai Chi from his previous life. But unfortunately, the Tai Chi from his previous life had long since declined. At least Duan Ling Tian had never met a true Tai Chi master. Tai Chi, it only appeared in the morning exercise of elderly people in parks, having form but not the spirit. Could it be that the martial skill young master Yu executed earlier was the Shao clan's strongest high-grade profound rank martial skill, sleeve dimension? Too terrifying, breaking Li Qing's mastery staged dark nether finger with just a swing of the sleeve. Completely not on the same level. Looks can be deceiving. Now I believe that Duan Ling Tian absolutely didn't willingly admit defeat that day. On the star observation platform, the group of young geniuses started discussing animatedly and did not suppress their voices one bit. These voices felt like sharp needles as they entered Li Qing's ears. I will defeat Duan Ling Tian in front of everyone and let you all know the disparity between him and me. Li Qing swore in his heart. Li Qing looked towards Xiao Yu and asked, in a heavy voice, Xiao Yu, your sleeve dimension has been cultivated to the perfection stage? Yes. Xiao Yu nodded lightly. No wonder. Next time, once my dark nether finger steps into the perfection stage, I will surely come battle you once more. I want to see if your sleeve dimension stronger, or if my dark nether finger stronger. Leaving these remarks, Li Qing moved aside. Xiao Yu had a cold expression as he indifferently said, I'll naturally accompany you. Sleeve dimension? Duan Ling Tian was slightly moved. What a domineering martial skill. Xiao Yu could be considered to have defeated Li Qing without the slightest effort, without any consumption whatsoever. His gaze fell upon the faraway Meng Quan, who was still eating and drinking to his heart's content. Meng Quan, have you finished eating? Xiao Yu directly issued a challenge to Meng Quan. Meng Quan picked up another dim sum and swallowed it before slowly walking out of the pergola. I'll be using a weapon straight off if it's fighting you, or else I'll surely end up like Li Qing, getting sent flying by a swing of your sleeve. Notifying Xiao Yu, Meng Quan drew a black iron rod from the weapons rack. Do as you please. Xiao Yu nodded. Meng Quan held the black iron rod in his hand as he stood to face Xiao Yu. The straightforward smile on his face had vanished and was replaced by a serious expression. Although I know I might not be a match for you, I still want to try. I want to know the disparity between me and you, the publicly acknowledged #1 youth in Aurora City's younger generation. Meng Quan had an earnest expression. Suddenly, he moved. 3 ancient mammoth silhouettes appeared above him. Arriving in front of Xiao Yu in the blink of an eye, the black iron rod in his hand trembled, whistling through the air as it descended. Thousand Shadow Rod. His rod strike transformed into tins of rod shadows as it descended, smashing straight towards Xiao Yu. Xiao Yu still did not move. He stood there, immovable like a mountain. Facing Meng Quan's head-on blow, his sleeve moved once again. Faint origin energy almost completely twined the sleeve as it lightly jerked. Sleeve dimension. He swung his sleeve out to intercept Meng Quan's menacingly approaching rod strike. Meng Quan's black iron rod jerked, avoiding Xiao Yu's sleeve, and instantly changed directions to a horizontal sweep at Xiao Yu's waist. Whoosh! Shapeless waves of air vibrated, as the might of Meng Quan's rod strike was extremely ferocious. If a normal person were to be smashed by this rod strike, it would lead to paralysis or even death. Huh? Xiao Yu is actually not dodging. Duan Ling Tian was slightly surprised. He noticed that if Xiao Yu wanted to dodge the attack from Meng Quan, it wouldn't be difficult. But he instead didn't dodge, and he didn't execute sleeve dimension again. It was as if he was waiting for Meng Quan's rod strike to smash down. Is young Master Yu planning to receive Meng Quan's rod strike head-on? Many people had their eyes wide open with expressions of disbelief. Among the people present, only the 4 Shao clan youths and young girls, including Xiao Lan and Xiao Yun, had tranquil expressions. It was as if they were not one bit surprised. Bang! Meng Quan's rod strike finally smashed onto Xiao Yu's waist, or more accurately, It smashed the defensive chi barrier on Xiao Yu's body. The defensive chi barrier abruptly shuddered. In the next moment, it completely shattered. And at the exact moment the defensive chi barrier shattered, Meng Quan let out a shrill cry as he was blasted flying along with his rod, both falling on the ground in a sorry state. This is Duan Ling Tian's pupils constricted. Wasn't this his defensive martial skill, greater teleportation? How could Xiao Yu also know it? Moreover, Xiao Yu's greater teleportation was at a higher stage than his, already being cultivated to the mastery stage. That's why he was able to take Meng Quan's 1,000 Shadow Rod head-on. After all, they were both high-grade profound rank martial skills at the mastery stage. It's Star Shift. I heard that the Shao clan possesses a heaven-defying high-grade profound rank defensive martial skill that is able to give someone a dose of their own medicine. Young Master Yu was able to use Star Shift to counter Meng Quan's 1,000 Shadow Rod head-on. He surely has cultivated Star Shift to the mastery stage. Oh my god. Perfect stage sleeve dimension, mastery stage Star Shift. Young Master Yu's comprehension ability is truly shocking. Many people recognize the defensive martial skills Xiao Yu executed. Star Shift? So that's how it is. Duan Ling Tian thought in his heart. The greater teleportation he cultivated and Xiao Yu's Star Shift were martial skills that had an almost identical effect. The defensive martial skill you cultivate is also Star Shift? Hearing the discussions, Li Fei looked at Duan Ling Tian with a strange expression. She had once fought with Duan Ling Tian and thus knew of the strangeness of his defensive martial skill. It was almost exactly the same as Xiao Yu's Star Shift. No, only the characteristics are the same. My defensive martial skill is called Greater Teleportation. You don't have to be so ruthless, right? I'd rather be defeated how Li Qing was, being forced back by a single swing of your sleeve. If I knew earlier how abnormal your defensive martial skill was, I wouldn't even have fought you. Meng Quan got up with a face full of dust and glanced at Xiao Yu with a gaze filled with hidden bitterness. Immediately, it attracted a wave of sincere laughter. Meng Quan, you were able to make young Master Yu use Star Shift. It's already worthy to be proud of. Yeah, at least you're stronger than someone who is even inferior to bumpkins. Many people laughed as they talked. Don't compare me to someone who suffered defeat at my hands. That's insulting me. Meng Quan glared with an unsatisfied expression. Li Qing, who was standing at the side, had a gloomy expression. He was enraged to the limit. Duan Ling Tian, I want to battle you. Meng Quan looked towards Duan Ling Tian. Xiao Yu's gaze flickered, returning back to Xiao Lan's side. Why did you choose me? Duan Ling Tian naturally wouldn't refuse and directly walked out. After all, his target was the first rank in the Hidden Dragon list. If he wanted to get the first rank, then it was necessary for him to have the strength to dominate all of the young geniuses present. But he was puzzled. Why would this Meng Quan directly choose him? He seemingly hadn't fought Lin Zhuo yet, right? Originally, I thought that besides Xiao Yu, my opponent would only be Lin Zhuo and Li Qing, but now Li Qing was defeated by me, and I can't defeat Xiao Yu, whereas you defeated Lin Zhuo. Thus, I naturally would choose you. If I defeat you, I don't even need to fight Lin Zhuo anymore, Meng Quan said as a matter of course. Duan Ling Tian was stunned. After thinking about it, it was indeed the right argument. You're pretty astute. Duan Ling Tian smiled. After a short moment, Meng Quan attacked, exploding forth with his entire strength of 3 ancient mammoths. He attacked like a gust of wind with rod shadows that covered the skies, smashing straight towards Duan Ling Tian. Spirit Serpent Movement Technique. Duan Ling Tian moved at a tricky angle, avoiding Meng Quan's rod strike. Noticing Meng Quan's rod strike was sweeping towards him horizontally, Duan Ling Tian moved once more. As if transforming into a serpent, he coiled along the black iron rod in Meng Quan's hand and moved towards him. There was a common saying, hit a snake with a rod and it will coil up the rod towards you. What the saying said might be what happened right now. Collapsing fist. Taking advantage of the opportunity, Duan Ling Tian's fist smashed directly at Meng Quan's chest, blasting him flying. Pooh. Meng Quan spat out a mouthful of blood before glaring at Duan Ling Tian. What movement technique is that? It feels like it restrains my 1,000 shadow rod. Spirit serpent movement technique. Duanling Tian smiled lightly. Haven't you heard of hit a snake with a rod, and it will coil up the rod towards you? Even that is possible? Meng Quan smiled bitterly as he withdrew himself. Hit a snake with a rod, and it will coil up the rod towards you. Duanling Tian's movement technique, spirit serpent movement technique, virtually seems to be made just to restrict Meng Quan's 1,000 shadow rod. Meng Quan is really unlucky. Many people had odd smiles on their faces. They could perceive Meng Quan's grievance. Duanling Tian. Just at this moment, Li Qing walked out in large strides to arrive in front of Duanling Tian. Huh. Duanling Tian's eyebrows raised. Li Qing, you don't seem to be lightly injured. Don't tell me you want to fight me in such a state. It's more than enough to defeat you. Li Qing sneered. Everyone can brag, come on. Duanling Tian silently awaited for Li Qing to make his move. Wait. Unexpectedly, Li Qing abruptly called out. Is something the matter? Duanling Tian frowned. This Li Qing was so bothersome. Why don't we make a bet? Li Qing took in a deep breath. His eyes that were like an array of stars glistened. What bet? Duanling Tian's gaze shone. The loser of our battle will not come into contact with Fei Fei for their entire lifetime and must take a detour as long you could see her from afar. Do you dare to accept this bet? Li Qing said directly. Duanling Tian's expression froze. He originally thought Li Qing would bet some medicinal pills, silver, or some sort of other bet. Duanling Tian started laughing. What are you laughing at? Li Qing got angry from embarrassment. Nothing. I just feel it's funny. What are you to Little Fei? And what qualifications do you have to use Little Fei in a gamble? Did you ask Little Fei's opinion? Also, Little Fei is a person, not an item. She has her own thoughts. What were you thinking when you made her a part of your gamble? Did you take her as an item that could be casually lost to another? As Duanling Tian asked, each question caused Li Qing's expression to distort. I. Li Qing was both embarrassed and enraged, but he didn't know how to retort. Nicely said. Meng Quan praised. The gazes of the surround people towards Li Qing had a trace of contempt. Speaking of such a gamble, this Li Qing really doesn't want his face anymore. Any person with a good sense would easily notice that Li Fei liked Duanling Tian. Looks like he really likes Li Fei. Xiao Lan's clear eyes flashed. Vaguely flickered within was a trace of a sense of loss. When Li Qing spoke of the gamble, Li Fei's face was covered in a layer of frost, but when she heard what Duanling Tian said, her expression finally eased up. For the first time, she felt that Duanling Tian was actually so noble. Her heart was warm. Duanling Tian, I want you dead. Under his extreme rage, Li Qing almost completely lost all reason. On the space above him, the forces of heaven and earth shook as three ancient mammoth silhouettes appeared. Swimming dragon steps. Dark nether finger. Li Qing attacked madly, every move containing a bloodthirsty killing intent, without a single shred of mercy, going straight towards Duanling Tian's vital points. Spirit serpent movement technique. As he dodged, Duanling Tian's expression turned grim. Even a kind person would get enraged when threatened. Li Qing, you're going too far. Duanling Tian sneered as his right hand flashed past his waist, and a violet sword shine appeared once again. Sword drawing arts. The icy cold sword strike that was swift and fierce intercepted Li Qing's dark nether finger. Whoosh! Li Qing swiftly withdrew his attack, dodging Duanling Tian's sword strike before striking with his finger once more, aiming towards the flat-side violet meteorite flexible sword's blade. Clang! But his finger strike descended onto empty space. Duanling Tian had already sheathed his sword. Since you want to kill me, then I'll cut off your finger. Duanling Tian's indifferent voice had just sounded. In the time it took a bolt of lightning to flash. Whoosh! He drew his sword once more and a violet sword shine flashed by. Sword drawn, finger cut. Ah! Li Qing emitted a shrill cry. His left hand clasped the bloody spot where his right hand's finger was cut off, his face deathly pale. At this moment, His cut-off finger had already dropped on the ground. He endured the pain and allowed his cold sweat to pour as he extended his left hand to pick up his cut-off finger, leaving the star observation platform as if he was flying. At this moment, what hidden dragon list ranking will Li Fei? He didn't give a care. He only knew that if he didn't connect this cut-off finger in time, the dark nether finger that he bitterly cultivated for years would be completely crippled. His dark nether finger's might was all on the index finger of his right hand. Duan Ling Tian, I will surely return today's shame 100-fold, 1,000-fold. As he left, Li Qing didn't forget to roar. Duan Ling Tian's face emitted a cold smile, entirely not paying any attention to Li Qing's threat. The young geniuses in the star observation platform only reacted after Li Qing's figure disappeared before them. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Gazes descended onto the violet-clothed youth one after the other. They all felt a chill run down their spines. This Duan Ling Tian had acted really decisively. If he said that he would cut off one finger, then he wouldn't cut off a second. Most of the young genius' eyes emitted a trace of reverence. Duan Ling Tian used his formidable strength and decisive approach to win the reverence of these young geniuses. He was different from the other young geniuses. The corners of Li An's mouth curled into a sneer as a sense of joy arose in his heart. Duan Ling Tian, no matter what, Li Qing is still the Grand Elder's grandson. I want to see how a little branch family disciple like you will face the Grand Elder's rage. Li Qing being crippled was something he was happy about. Duan Ling Tian getting into trouble was something he was happy about as well. You're too rash. Li Qing is the Grand Elder's grandson after all, and the Grand Elder has always been protective. Li Fei looked towards Duan Ling Tian, her beautiful eyebrows slightly knit. Little Fei, are you worried about me? Duan Ling Tian laughed faintly. You can still laugh even at such a time? Li Fei said angrily. Don't worry, today's matter is something that many people bore witness to. If it wasn't for Li Qing being overbearing and persistently at my heels, I wouldn't have gone so far as to cut off his finger. I didn't kill him. It could be considered as me giving Grand Elder enough face. Duan Ling Tian made nothing of it. Regarding today's matter, Grand Elder indeed won't cause trouble for you during the day, but a visible spear is easily withstood, whereas an unseen arrow is hard to guard against. I've heard from my grandfather that the Grand Elder is not a pushover, Li Fei said anxiously. Duan Ling Tian's eyes slightly narrowed as he lightly smiled. Really? You? Li Fei was completely helpless. Duan Ling Tian was extremely obstinate, but she had a plan in her heart. After returning today, she would tell her grandfather what happened and ask him to protect Duan Ling Tian. Linhua, do we still need to battle each other? Xiao Yu's gaze descended onto Linhua. Linhua waved his hand dismissively as he casually said, Forget about it. We only just sparred a few days ago, and I haven't had a break in these past few days. Xiao Yu nodded. Then you'll battle Manhwa, and once Duan Ling Tian recovers, I'll battle him and compete for the first rank in the Hidden Dragon list. Does anyone have any objections? After he finished speaking, Xiao Yu's gaze swept across all the remaining young geniuses in the star observation platform. No one made a sound. Very good. Xiao Yu nodded. This year's Hidden Dragon list's first and second rank will be decided between Duan Ling Tian and I. The third and fourth rank will be decided between Linhua and Manhwa. The fifth is Li Qing. Manhwa. Linhua looked towards Manhwa. Manhwa stuffed a piece of dim sum into his mouth and said, in an unclear voice, Wait, I still haven't rested enough. There's no need to hurry. Decide on the last 5 first, and we can battle after. Linhua was speechless. Okay, now we'll start the ranking battle for the last 5 ranks in the Hidden Dragon list. Xiao Yu nodded. Under his direction, the more outstanding young geniuses of the 3 great clans continuously battled the outstanding youths of the smaller clans. In the end, the verdict was Hidden Dragon List 6th, Leon. 7th and the 8th tied by Li Fei and Xiao Lan. 9th and 10th tied by Xiao Yun and Lin Qi. In the Hidden Dragon list, only Manhwa came from the smaller clans. The other 9 were all from the 3 great clans. Towards this result, the young geniuses of the small clans were not surprised. At any rate, they had Mengquan, who entered the Hidden Dragon list this year. At this moment, the sky had already come close to dusk. Okay. Mengquan walked out and directly took up the black iron rod before looking at Lin Qi with a gaze that emitted battle intent. Lin Zhuo flew out to confront Mengquan. Abruptly, they both moved simultaneously. Immediately, half of the star observation platform was enveloped in rod shadows and palm shadows. Heaven's net palm formed a net that covered the heavens and the earth, causing its opponent to be unable to flee. Thousand Shadow Rod moved freely like a shadow, always able to give the opponent a quick and ferocious strike at the critical juncture. Whoosh! The two of them battled for tens of moves, but in the end, Lin Zhuo feinted an opening and enveloped Mengquan with his Heaven's Net palm, injuring Mengquan. F***K. The third place is gone. Mengquan couldn't help himself from spouting out vulgarities. He was slightly vexed, and then he casually threw the black iron rod aside. Although Mengquan lost, he still obtained the respect of everyone. A disciple of a small clan being able to achieve such an accomplishment was truly rare. It could be imagined that with his natural talent, if he could obtain the fostering from one of the three great clans, defeating Lin Zhuo in the future wasn't impossible. Mengquan. At this moment, Xiaoyu walked out as he looked towards Mengquan. If you're interested in joining our Xiao clan to become a disciple with another surname of the Xiao clan, the Xiao clan will spare no efforts in fostering you. Obviously, Xiaoyu took a fancy to Mengquan's natural talent, so he extended an olive branch to him. Mengquan, if you join our Lin clan, what our Lin clan can give you wouldn't be less than the Xiao clan. Lin Zhuo was unwilling to lag behind. Lin Zhuo is the Lin clan's patriarch's son, so it's normal for him to endeavor to win over Mengquan for the Lin clan. This Xiaoyu shouldn't be the Xiao clan's patriarch's son, right? Seeing this scene, Duan Ling Tian couldn't help himself from asking Li Fei. You don't know Xiaoyu's background? Li Fei had a strange gaze. Duan Ling Tian shook his head. Although Xiaoyu isn't the son of the Xiao clan's patriarch, his status in the Xiao clan is even higher than the Xiao clan patriarch's son. Xiaoyu's grandfather is the supreme elder of the Xiao clan, one of the Xiao clan's nascent soul powerhouses, Li Fei explained. Duan Ling Tian's gaze flickered. So that's how it is. No wonder then. Sorry, but after a period of time, I'm going to leave Aurora City and head to Iron Blood City to join the army. Mengquan smiled regretfully to Xiaoyu and Lin Zhuo. Iron Blood City? Join the army? Duan Ling Tian was stupefied. Xiaoyu and Lin Zhuo were startled as well. The young geniuses looked at Mengquan with gazes that seemed like they had seen a ghost. Could it be that Mengquan wanted to enter the Iron Blood Army's genius camp? Although Mengquan's strength is pretty good, wanting to enter the genius camp seems to still be quite difficult. Yeah, the genius camp test now only requires the age to be below 19, but the strength requirement is also extremely high. Allegedly, even a genius martial artist at the third level of the core formation stage might not be able to pass the test. This Mengquan is absolutely insane. Some of the young geniuses couldn't help but shake their heads, as they did not look favorably upon Mengquan. Lin Zhuo's eyes stared fixedly at Mengquan as he asked, Mengquan, you plan to enter the Iron Blood Army's genius camp? I plan to, but I don't know if I can pass the test. I heard that the genius camp test is extremely rigorous. Mengquan smiled in a straightforward manner. It's far more than just rigorous. According to the disciples of our Lin clan who went and returned, the genius camp test is absolutely abnormal. In fact, in the past few years, there has hardly been any young geniuses of our Aurora City that were capable of passing the test and entering the Iron Blood Army's genius camp. Lin Zhuo heaved a sigh. Unfortunately, my father isn't willing to let me go, or else I would love to go and have a try. The Iron Blood Army's genius camp was cutthroat. Allegedly, there were plenty of young geniuses that died in there every year. Lin Zhuo's expression turned serious as he said, but if you can't pass the genius camp test, the door to our Lin clan will always be open for you. He wasn't willing to give up on a talent such as Mengquan. Okay. Mengquan nodded and agreed. Mengquan, when do you plan on leaving? Suddenly, Xiaoyu looked at Mengquan. His eyes flashed with a thread of light. The Genius Camp's yearly test is half a year away. I plan to leave in 5 months. Ming-Quan smiled in a straightforward manner. In 5 months, huh? At that time, come find me at the Xiao clan. I'll go with you, Xiaoyu said. You're going as well? Ming-Quan was stupefied. Big guy, brother Yu has been planning to enter the Genius Camp for months. Xiaoyun grunted. Young Master Yu wants to enter the Genius Camp? The crowd of young geniuses present in the star observation platform all looked at Xiaoyu in surprise. As far as they were concerned, Xiaoyu was the most outstanding genius disciple of the Xiao clan in the past 100 years. As long as he stayed in the Xiao clan, becoming the Xiao clan's patriarch in the future was virtually a decided matter. But once he enters the Iron Blood Army's Genius Camp, then he will only have a slim chance of surviving. If they were Xiaoyu, they would definitely not take the risk. Even though the returns were great, that would rely upon being able to survive. Once dead, everything is lost. Okay, I'll go with you at that time. At least we can look after each other. Ming-Quan smiled. Xiaoyu nodded, and his gaze moved on to descend upon Duanling Tian. Duanling Tian was just thinking about asking Li Fei what the Iron Blood Army's Genius Camp, but when he noticed Xiaoyu's gaze sweep over, his body jerked and he directly entered the arena to confront Xiaoyu. On the star observation platform, everyone's gazes descended on the two of them. Duanling Tian and Xiaoyu's battle will decided the first ranked on the Hidden Dragon list this year. Do you all think Duanling Tian is able to defeat Xiaoyu? How could that be possible? Although I admit Duanling Tian is extremely formidable, so much so that his natural talent isn't inferior to young Master Yu's, but he is only 16 after all. He's certainly unable to match young Master Yu right now. Yeah, I think so too. While the young geniuses discussed one by one, Duanling Tian moved, and Xiaoyu still stood on the spot, immovable like a mountain. Sword drawing arts. The first move Duanling Tian made was already his strongest technique. At the same time, above his head, 3 ancient mammoth silhouettes formed. Battling Xiaoyu, he didn't hold back any longer. 3 ancient mammoth silhouettes. The surrounding young geniuses that were spectating were all struck dumb. A 9th-level body tempering martial artist, exerting the strength of 3 ancient mammoths. Looks like the rumors were all true. Whoosh! The violet sword shine mixed with a cold and fierce aura flashed straight towards Xiaoyu. Sleeve dimension. Xiaoyu swung out his sleeve as his origin energy enveloped the sleeve, trying to roll up the flexible sword in Duanling Tian's hand. Humph! The corners of Duanling Tian's mouth curled into a smile. The hand that held the sword shook. Ryup! The sword strike penetrated Xiaoyu's origin energy and pierced through his sleeve, tearing it apart. Spirit weapon! As Xiaoyu exclaimed, his expression distorted and he quickly retreated. Shadowless drifting light. Instantly, Xiaoyu created after-imagers as he flashed and retreated, his speed swift to the limit, avoiding Duanling Tian's sword strike. Above him, 3 ancient mammoth silhouettes slowly formed. Spirit weapon? Everyone on the star observation platform was stupefied. This Duanling Tian actually had a spirit weapon. Wasn't he a branch family disciple of the Li clan? After all, in the entire Li clan, even a main clan disciple such as Li Qing didn't own a spirit weapon. Spirit weapon? Li Fei also looked towards Duanling Tian. Even he had a spirit weapon? No, it doesn't seem to be a spirit weapon. Your strength didn't seem like it received any amplification. Moreover, it would be impossible even for a spirit weapon to completely ignore my origin energy. What sword is that? After standing still, Xiaoyu had a brief expression of fear as he glanced at Duanling Tian. Duanling Tian nodded before answering, "You're right, my sword isn't a spirit weapon, but my sword contains a type of material that is able to ignore the origin energy of martial artists below the origin core stage. This was one of the special characteristics of violet meteorite. Ignore origin energy below the origin core stage?" Duanling Tian said it as if it was simple, but when it entered the ears of Xiaoyu and the other people that were present, it caused their scalps to go numb. Ignore origin energy below the origin core stage. In other words, If Duanling Tian used this sword in an unexpected manner and made a preemptive strike against a 9th-level core formation martial artist, if that person was slightly unguarded, it would be possible for him to die under Duanling Tian's sword. Then I'll change a sword. Duanling Tian sheathed his sword and looked towards the weapons rack. It isn't necessary. I'll use a weapon. Xiaoyu shook his head and proceeded to draw a long spear from the weapons rack. He jerked the long spear as his origin energy suffused it. Come. Xiaoyu looked at Duanling Tian. Spirit Serpent Movement Technique. Sword Drawing Arts. The violet meteorite flexible sword in Duanling Tian's hand was hard to get rid of as it followed like shadow, flashing straight towards Xiaoyu. Sleeve Dimension. Xiaoyu's long spear trembled as he swept it towards Duanling Tian's sword. As the sword wobbled, it perfectly contained the force exertion of the sleeve dimension. Ka. A clear sound was heard. It was the sound of Duanling Tian's sword slicing Xiaoyu's long spear in half. Even if it was fine steel, Duanling Tian's violet meteorite flexible sword would be able to slice through it, let alone the ordinary long spear in Xiaoyu's hands. Looks like I can't fight with you head-on. Xiaoyu's gaze concentrated as he flashed while holding the short spear. Shadowless drifting light. Executing his movement technique, Xiaoyu's speed was swift to the limit. Spirit Serpent Movement Technique. Duanling Tian noticed that even if he exerted his full strength, he actually wasn't able to come close to Xiaoyu's speed. High-grade profound rank movement technique at the perfection stage. Duanling Tian's heart trembled as he understood. He didn't expect that this Xiaoyu had actually cultivated both his high-grade profound rank offensive martial skill and movement technique to the perfection stage. Even his high-grade profound rank defensive martial skill was cultivated to the mastery stage. Such comprehension ability could be called monstrous. Among the martial skills under the heaven, only speed is unbeatable. Duanling Tian, be careful, I'm going to attack. Xiaoyu's voice was cold. Duanling Tian was the only one today that could make him execute 3 types of martial skills, receiving the respect he deserved. Hearing what he said, Duanling Tian's heart sunk. He felt the pressure and started becoming vigilant. Sleeve Dimension. Xiaoyu flashed directly over like a bolt of lightning and appeared behind Duanling Tian. He swung out the broken spear in his hand to descend towards Duanling Tian's back. Just when he thought that Duanling Tian would be blasted flying by his spear strike. Whoosh! Duanling Tian's body inclined flexibly like a spirit serpent, closely avoiding Xiaoyu's attack. You have some skill. Xiaoyu's eyes shone as his battle intent rose. Although Duanling Tian dodged Xiaoyu's attack, it still caused cold sweat to pour out. If it wasn't for the nervous reflex he developed as a member of the special forces in his previous life, he would have been hit. It would have been extremely difficult for him to dodge Xiaoyu's attack by solely relying on his spirit serpent movement technique, which was at the mastery stage. Subsequently, Xiaoyu attacked a few more times. Every time was an unexpected attack, but he noticed instead that Duanling Tian was always able to closely dodge his attacks, causing him to be slightly doubtful. Did this Duanling Tian have an intuition that wasn't inferior to his? But he knew that after dodging his attacks with his nervous reflex so many times, Duanling Tian's nerves were fatigued to the extreme. Sleeve Dimension. Xiaoyu once again flashed behind Duanling Tian with a speed that was far faster than Duanling Tian's, his broken spear descending once again. Ah! This time, Duanling Tian, whose nerves hurt, couldn't restrain himself from shouting in alarm. And at this exact moment, his feet stomped on the ground and his entire body flew out, flashing far away, and causing Xiaoyu's attack to hit air. That is. Noting the white glow that suffused Duanling Tian's legs, Xiaoyu was dumbstruck. It's origin energy. Oh my god, Duanling Tian broke through? Duanling Tian actually broke through during his battle with Xiaoyu and developed his origin energy? Unbelievable. Most of the people present were dumbstruck. He broke through? Li Fei watched this scene and was struck dumb. I'm afraid Big Brother is going to lose. A bitter smile appeared on the corners of Xiao Lan's mouth. Xiao Yun's beautiful eyebrows knit as she said, This Duanling Tian is absolutely a freak. Haha. Xiaoyu, eat this. Duanling Tian laughed loudly as the origin energy beneath his feet flickered and four ancient mammoth silhouettes dashed out from above him. Spirit Serpent Movement Technique. Duanling Tian's current speed was even slightly faster than Xiaoyu's. Developing his origin energy under pressure and breaking through to the core formation stage, even to Duanling Tian, it was slightly unexpected. He originally thought that he still required a period of time before he could break through, but he didn't imagine that he would break through under such circumstances. In the end, he had to thank Xiaoyu. Duanling Tian instantly arrived before Xiaoyu and slapped the flat side of his blade towards Xiaoyu. Sleeve Dimension. Xiaoyu knew that Duanling Tian's current speed was faster than his, so he could only choose to fight Duanling Tian head-on. Luckily, Duanling Tian didn't use the blade of his sword, so it couldn't be considered to be relying upon weapons. But even so, bang! The violet meteorite flexible sword in Duanling Tian's hand slapped onto the broken spear in Xiaoyu's hand. The broken spear started to tremble. Xiaoyu noticed that the force of his sleeve dimension had been completely destroyed. Only when a sharp pain came from his palm did Xiaoyu realize that his palm had split open from the force of Duanling Tian's sword strike. Fresh blood oozed out from it. "I've lost," Xiaoyu calmly said. "If I didn't happen to break through to the core formation stage, then the one who lost would have been me." Duanling Tian smiled. "Luck is also a part of strength." Xiaoyu smiled. Duanling Tian had exerted the strength of four ancient mammoths, so even if Duanling Tian's movement technique was one stage lower than his, Duanling Tian's speed still firmly exceeded his speed. The extra strength of an ancient mammoth completely defeated the difference in a single stage of their high-grade profound rank martial skills. Developing origin energy during battle and breaking through to the core formation stage, even this is possible? Many people were dumbstruck. Even now, they still couldn't react to the scene they witnessed earlier. Seeing Duanling Tian being suppressed by Xiaoyu, they all thought that Duanling Tian wouldn't be able to hold on much longer. But who would have thought that Duanling Tian would develop his origin energy at that critical juncture? Controlling the strength of four ancient mammoths, he launched a counterattack and suppressed Xiaoyu, obtaining the final victory. Great! Only after reacting did they start cheering. Duanling Tian, this year's first rank in the Hidden Dragon list is something you fully deserve. As for the prizes, our Xiao clan will personally send them to you later on. Xiaoyu nodded to Duanling Tian. Losing to Duanling Tian's strength of four ancient mammoths, he acknowledged his defeat. But in his heart, a towering battle intent still arose. Once he breaks through to the third level of the core formation stage, he will surely invite Duanling Tian to battle. Thanks. Duanling Tian smiled as he nodded. Suddenly, Xiaoyu asked, "Right, I have a question. I wonder if you're able to answer it for me. You want to ask me why I can possess the strength of three ancient mammoths when only at the 9th level of the body tempering stage, right?" Duanling Tian smiled. Xiaoyu nodded. He was slightly surprised in his heart at Duanling Tian's wisdom. "When I went to the misty forest the other day, I found a type of spirit fruit. After consuming it, I noticed that my fleshly body underwent a metamorphosis and had an extra strength of two ancient mammoths out of thin air." Duanling Tian explained. He naturally didn't disclose anything about the Nine Dragons War sovereign technique and casually found an excuse. Moreover, in the Cloud Continent, there indeed was a similar spirit fruit. "So that's how it is. Your luck is really good. But being able to break through to the core formation stage at the age of 16, the natural talent you've revealed right now, even in the entire Aurora City's past 100 years, you're still the first." Xiaoyu glanced deeply at Duanling Tian. "Being able to break through today was all thanks to you." Duanling Tian smiled. If he wasn't under the pressure that Xiaoyu gave him, it would have been impossible for him to directly complete his breakthrough. "In other words, you owe me a favor?" Xiaoyu grabbed on to the opportunity. "You can say so." Duanling Tian didn't deny it. "Then tonight I'll entertain you and Li Fei. You won't decline, right?" Xiaoyu asked. "That would depend on her." Duan Ling Tian looked towards Li Fei. Li Fei was just walking over when she heard Duan Ling Tian. Her angel-like face blushed and her heart slightly trembled. Recalling the bet she made with Duan Ling Tian earlier, she wished she could dig a hole and hide in it. Then we'll have something before returning. Li Fei nodded. Subsequently, Xiaoyu invited the two brothers Lin Zhua and Lin Qi, as well as Meng Quan. Besides Meng Quan, who was in a hurry to return, Lin Zhua and Lin Qi stayed behind. The other people, on the other hand, returned home. They weren't qualified to receive an invitation from Xiaoyu. Today's youth gathering came to an end. This year's Hidden Dragon list ranking was released. First, Duan Ling Tian. Second, Xiaoyu. Third, Lin Zhua. Fourth, Meng Quan. Fifth, Li Qing. Sixth, Lian. Seventh and eighth were tied by Li Fei and Xiaolan. Ninth and 10th were tied by Xiaoyun and Lin Qi. That night, Xiaoyu held a banquet in a large courtyard. Besides Duan Ling Tian, Li Fei, Lin Zhua, and Lin Qi, there was only Xiaoyu, Xiaolan, and Xiaoyun. During the banquet, Xiaoyu asked Lin Zhua, your strength isn't inferior to Meng Quan's. Why don't you try participating in the Iron Blood Army's Genius Camp test? Hearing what he said, Lin Zhua smiled bitterly. Xiaoyu, I want to go, but my father wouldn't let me. Even you know that it doesn't matter if I don't pass the Genius Camp test, but if I do pass the test and enter the Genius Camp, then I will only have a slim chance of surviving. I'm not afraid, but my father isn't willing to let me take the risk. In a person's lifetime, there will naturally not be a lack of hardships and dangers. I, however, feel that this is an opportunity for me. Xiaoyu's gaze flickered full of yearning. Lin Zhua had a strange gaze as he asked, your grandfather was actually willing to let you go? On this point, he was much more open-minded than your father, but even if he didn't allow it, I would still go. Aurora City isn't the stage I yearn for. If I continue to stay in Aurora City, I will only follow in my grandfather's footsteps, and the nascent soul stage will be my final achievement before waiting for death to take me. Maybe it was because he has experienced this that he didn't stop me. Xiaoyu laughed. With your natural talent, as long as no accidents happen, entering the Iron Blood Army's Genius Camp shouldn't be a problem. Lin Zhua looked at Xiaoyu as he smiled. Entering isn't difficult, but it isn't easy to continue surviving in there. In the past 30 years, at least around 100 genius disciples of our Aurora City's 3 great clans have passed the test and entered the Genius Camp, but in the end, not even one came out alive. Xiaoyu's eyes flickered. You've all been speaking about some Iron Blood Army's Genius Camp for so long. What is it all about? Duan Ling Tian asked out the question that had been bothering him. You don't know about the Iron Blood Army's Genius Camp? Lin Qin looked at Duan Ling Tian as if looking at an alien. Is it that strange? Duan Ling Tian was dazed. After a moment, after hearing the explanation from Lin Zhua, Duan Ling Tian finally knew what sort of place the Iron Blood Army's Genius Camp was. The Iron Blood Army was a formidable army under the command of the Crimson Sky Kingdom, garrisoned in Iron Blood City at the border. The officers of the Iron Blood Army are allegedly able to win 1 against 10 fights with unstoppable might. Whereas the Iron Blood Army's Genius Camp, on the other hand, was a standalone army camp that gathered young geniuses and was directly under the control of the Imperial family. In the Imperial City of the Crimson Sky Kingdom, there was a Paladin Academy. As long as a student graduates from the academy, practically all of them are conferred with some sort of official appointment, respectively conferred an area of land, and end up becoming a noble. At that time, they would need to say the word, and it would be enough to completely annihilate factions such as the 3 great clans of Aurora City. In the entire Crimson Sky Kingdom, there were numerous small cities similar to Aurora City. And factions similar to the 3 great clans were even more numerous. Paladin Academy's entry threshold was extremely high. Besides disciples of the royal family and the outstanding disciples of the few eminent families being able to directly enter the academy, if an ordinary person wanted to enter the academy, then they would have to go through a brutal test just to obtain the qualifications to enter the academy. The Iron Blood Army's Genius Camp was precisely one of these numerous brutal tests. The Genius Camp was a special training camp that lasted a year. Only those who survive through the special training have the qualification to become one of the students at Paladin Academy. In the past 30 years, there have been nearly 100 disciples of Aurora City's 3 great clans that passed the test and entered the Iron Blood Army's Genius Camp. However, these people all died without exception in the course of the Genius Camp's special training. Hence, one can see the brutality of the Genius Camp. Allegedly, only 10% of the young geniuses gathered by the Genius Camp are able to survive the year. Since the beginning, there has been a saying, 9 die, 1 lives, Genius Camp. A youth genius without a certain level of strength, confidence, and courage would fundamentally not dare to enter the Genius Camp. Once you've entered the Genius Camp, you will be confronted with only 2 paths. The first, die. The second, achieve greatness. Imperial City, Paladin Academy. Duan Ling Tian started pondering. The Duan clan was at the Imperial City. According to what his mother said, the Duan clan should be one of the eminent families in the Imperial City. The Duan clan, the day he went there would eventually come. He only had one reason: to take Duan Ling Xing's life. That day, Duan Ling Xing injured Ku Er and heavily injured Li Xian, already completely enraging him. Maybe this is an opportunity. Duan Ling Tian's eyes narrowed. Maybe because of his experience having a military career in his previous life, it caused Duan Ling Tian to have a sense of intimacy towards the Iron Blood Army's Genius Camp. Xiaoyu looked at Duan Ling Tian as he asked, "So how about it, Duan Ling Tian? Are you interested?" You and Ming Quan said earlier that the Genius Camp's test was in half a year's time? Duan Ling Tian asked. Yes, but if you want to go, then you must leave 1 month in advance. Because from our Aurora City to Iron Blood City, even if you travel at top speed, you will still need to spend close to a month, Xiaoyu slowly said. If you want to go, you can go with me and Ming Quan, Xiaoyu continued. Duan Ling Tian lightly nodded, but he didn't say if he would go or not. No rush, there's still another 5 months to go. Xiaoyu shook his head and smiled. The group of youths and young girls enjoyed themselves, and the banquet soon approached its end. Right, Duan Ling Tian, you cut off Li Qing's finger today. Even if it can be connected back in time, at least half of his dark nether finger will probably be crippled. Li Qing is brainless, and thus there's nothing to fear from him. But his grandfather, the Li clan's grand elder, is a prominent figure, so you must be careful. As Xiao Yu and his sister personally sent Duan Ling Tian's group out of the Xiao clan estate, Xiao Yu had a serious expression as he warned Duan Ling Tian. Thanks for the warning. Duan Ling Tian nodded. Looking at Duan Ling Tian's group leaving from afar, Xiao Yu turned around to look at his sister, Xiao Lan. Xiao Lan's clear and beautiful eyes emitted a strange luster. Lan, interested? Xiao Yu had a faint smile on his face. Big brother, what are you talking about? Xiao Lan's cheeks were bright red. Then she turned around and left in embarrassment. Xiao Yu laughed loudly. Every young girl thought of love, so he didn't mind. Moreover, Duan Ling Tian was indeed outstanding. It was no wonder that his sister, who had extremely high expectations, would be interested. On the way back to Aurora City, Manhwa suggested, Duan Ling Tian, if you want to go to the Iron Blood Army's Genius Camp, I suggest you go after a year or 2. You are different from Xiao Yu and Ming Quan. If they don't go this time, then they'll forever not have the chance. But you are just 16, even if you don't go this time, you still have 2 more chances. The Iron Blood Army's Genius Camp only recruited youth geniuses below the age of 19. Duan Ling Tian lightly nodded, but neither indicated consent nor dissent. They quickly arrived at Aurora City. Duan Ling Tian, if you need any help in the future, you can look for us in the Lin clan. As long as it's within my ability, I will absolutely not decline. Before going their own ways, Manhwa lightly smiled to Duan Ling Tian. Yeah, we're friends. You don't have to be courteous to us, Linchi said. Sure. Duan Ling Tian smiled amicably to the 2 of them. He could be considered to be friends with Manhwa and Linchi. Their friendship was made from the exchange of blows. They appreciated their own kind. You've broken through to the core formation stage now. Can you treat my grandfather yet? On the way back to the Li clan estate, Li Fei gazed at Duan Ling Tian. Yes, my dear wifey. Duan Tian answered in all seriousness. What's a wifey? Li Fei was dazed. It means wife. It's the way we say it in the small towns at the countryside. Only now did Duan Tian realize he misspoke. In this world, there was no such thing as wifey. Pei, who's your wife? Li Fei blushed. My good wife, have you forgotten about our agreement? Duan Tian extended his hand and wrapped his arm around Li Fei's slender figure. A soft and supple feeling entered his hand. Li Fei's delicate figure trembled and was slightly stiff, but she didn't resist as she lightly said, "Hurry up and let go. There are people ahead." Duan Tian laughed loudly and stopped teasing her. Okay, tomorrow morning I'll come to your house to see you and grandfather. I'm quite tired today, so I need to return and take a good night's sleep. After returning to the Li clan estate and sending Li Fei back home, only then did Duan Tian return home. At the moment he entered the courtyard, he noticed the young girl sitting in front of a table with an exhausted appearance. She was dozing off. The table was filled with food. Ku-er. Duan Tian felt an ache in his heart. He could guess that Ku-er had most certainly waited for him the entire night. Young master. Ku-er heard some sounds and rubbed her eyes in a daze. Then she abruptly stood up in shock and brought Duan Tian to the table. Madam said you surely had eaten outside, but I still made some food. Young master, have you eaten? Silly girl, I haven't eaten, and I'm indeed hungry right now. Come, eat with me. Duan Tian sat down, and accompanied by the young girl, he cleaned all the food on the table. Even though at the end he was overly full, there was only warmth which flowed through Duan Tian's heart. No matter what, this was Ku-er's feelings. He wasn't willing to disappoint her. Seeing Duan Tian finishing all the food, Ku-er had a satisfied expression on her face. After clearing up the tableware, she notified Duan Tian and was prepared to return to her room and sleep. Ku-er, sleep in my room tonight. I want to cuddle with you. Duan Tian took a deep breath as he looked at the young girl. The young girl was panic-stricken and her cheeks blushed, but she still lightly nodded. Lying on the bed, smelling the pure and fresh virgin's fragrance off the young girl, Duan Tian's lower regions were hot and reacted. But he didn't take it a step further, only embracing the young girl with one hand holding the budding flower on her chest, laying there contently. Young master. The young girl's delicate body slightly trembled. She could feel a burning hard object pushing up against her from behind. Ku-er, go to sleep. Embracing the young girl, smelling the young girl's fragrant hair, Duan Tian fell soundly asleep. He wasn't Lu Xiaohui one, but a man that was full of vigor and vitality. However, the young girl was still young after all, so he was reluctant to take her at this moment. If the young girl in his embrace was Li Fei, he would disregard everything and pounce on her, to claim her and vent out to his heart's content. Hearing the sound of Duan Tian's steady breathing, the young girl let out a breath of air as she relaxed. Her face emitted a smile of happiness. The next day, close to noon, Duan Tian awoke. Not good. Only now did Duan Tian recall the agreement he made with Li Fei. Young master. At this moment, the young girl in his embrace was roused from her sleep because of him. Ku-er, if you're still sleepy, then sleep for a while longer. Duan Tian gave the young girl a hug and kissed her on the forehead before getting off the bed and putting on some clothes. The young girl followed him off the bed and put on her clothes before leaving the room together with Duan Tian, who knew that the moment they opened the room door, they saw the hot-bodied young girl standing in the courtyard who just happened to look over. You too. Seeing the scene in front of her, Li Fei was so angry that she was at a loss for words. Big sister Fei. Ku-er greeted Li Fei before running back to her own room in embarrassment. Duan Tian, on the other hand, had a natural expression as he looked at Li Fei. Little Fei, let's go. I was really too tired yesterday and accidentally overslept. Accidentally? Li Fei's eyes seemed to be on the verge of emitting fire, but when she thought of how she needed Duan Tian to treat her grandfather, she endured it. Walking out of the courtyard with Li Fei, Duan Tian could still feel the smell of gunpowder that surrounded him. He shook his head and smiled. She really was overly jealous. You too, last night? Eventually, Li Fei couldn't hold back. You want to ask me what we did last night, right? Duan Ling Tian lightly smiled as if he could see through Li Fei's thoughts. Li Fei didn't say anything, but her expression said it all. Heh, when can my heir grow up to become like you? If it were you, I wouldn't have had to suppress the fire in me and sleep through the night. Duan Ling Tian heaved a sigh as he sized up Li Fei's hot figure in an unrestrained manner. Little Fei, why don't you sleep with me tonight? Pei, ask your heir to sleep with you. Li Fei made a spitting sound, but her expression eased up slightly. He followed Li Fei to her house. After a month's time, Duan Ling Tian once again met the old man. I really didn't expect you would complete your breakthrough so quickly. Although he had heard from Li Fei about how Duan Ling Tian broke through yesterday, when he saw Duan Ling Tian, he still couldn't help himself from being surprised. A 16-year-old at the first level of the core formation stage. Such natural talent. Even in the entire Crimson Sky Kingdom, he was still in existence that was like phoenix feathers and Qilin horns. If he knew that there was another 16-year-old core formation martial artist in Duan Ling Tian's home, God knows how he would feel then. Grandfather, I can refine the medicinal pill for you and uproot your hidden injuries today, but I need a cauldron. As a weapons craftsman, you should have one, right? Duan Ling Tian blinked his eyes as a trace of cunning flashed within. Kid, you're actually having ideas about my things. I do indeed have a cauldron, and it's even a grade 8 spirit weapon. Are you really capable of refining medicinal pills? The old man's eye emitted a sense of doubt. Duan Ling Tian continued with no nonsense. He directly lifted his hand, with his palm facing upwards, circulating his origin energy. In the next moment, as if he was possessed by the Rebirth Martial Emperor, Duan Ling Tian skillfully transformed his origin energy into a milky white flame. It was precisely a grade 9 pill fire. The grade of an alchemist was judged based on the grade of the pill fire. This is a grade 9 pill fire. You really are a little freak that nobody can see through. The old man gave Duan Ling Tian a deep glance. If you can really refine a medicinal pill, then can uproot my hidden injuries. I might as well gift that cauldron to you. Grandfather, isn't that cauldron something that your teacher left behind for you? Li Fei's beautiful eyebrows frowned. She knew the meaning of that cauldron to her grandfather. Grandfather, since that cauldron has a special meaning to you, then it's fine. I'll just casually refine a cauldron myself to play with. Duan Ling Tian smiled at the old man, unwilling to take away his prized possession. Forget about that. That cauldron is my master's peak creation. Leaving it in my hands will only be wasting such a valuable item. It would be better off giving off its splendor in your hands. But kid, you said that you would casually refine a cauldron to play with? Don't tell me you can condense a weapon flame as well? The old man had a strange expression. Hiss. The pill fire on Duan Ling Tian's palm distorted and become more destructive. Instantly, the air in the seemed to become hotter. Grade 9 weapon flame. As a weapons craftsman, the old man naturally was able to differentiate between the pill fire and weapon flame. The pill fire was more restrained. The weapon flame was more destructive and unrestrained. You. The old man's breathing became hurried, slightly unable to catch his breath. Condensing pill fire or weapon flame out of origin energy was something that even someone with a high natural talent would require years of painstaking cultivation to achieve. But the violet-clothed youth in front of him completely overturned what he knew about alchemists and weapons craftsmen. Years ago, he spent a whole 5 years before he was able to successfully condense his weapon flame. But even then, his teacher said that he had outstanding natural talent. Grandfather, don't get agitated. Duan Ling Tian withdrew his weapon flame and smiled. Li Fei had long since been struck dumb. Although she wasn't an alchemist or weapons craftsman, as she followed by her grandfather's side since a young age, she was imbued with the knowledge she saw and heard. She knew how difficult it was to become a graded alchemist or weapons craftsman. But now, what happened before her very eyes utterly overturned everything her grandfather had once said. I have really wasted my life all these years. The old man finally caught his breath and had a bitter smile. Duan Tian quickly diverted the topic. Grandfather, the medicinal pill I want to refine for you includes some medicinal materials that are fairly rare, so ordinary medicine stores wouldn't sell them. Is there an alchemist guild in Aurora City? As he spoke, his gaze descended upon the other crest beside the Li clan's crest on the old man's chest. He recognized it. That was the Grade 9 Weapons Craftsman crest of the Weapons Craftsman Guild. Relying on this crest, no matter where one goes in the entire Cloud Continent, they would still be able to receive treatment that was extremely good. He still remembered that the Fresh Breeze Town's branch family's grand elder, Li Hua, had the Alchemist Guild's crest on his chest at all times to indicate his status as a Grade 9 alchemist. You want to buy medicinal materials from the Alchemist Guild? The old man frowned slightly. According to what I know, the medicinal materials in the Alchemist Guild can't be exchanged for money and must be exchanged for with the Alchemist Guild's points. I know of this. Duan Tian nodded. What a joke. Years ago, Rebirth Martial Emperor was the only royal grade alchemist in the entire Cloud Continent. And he even was the honorary guild master of the Alchemist Guild's headquarters. He was extremely clear about the workings of the Alchemist Guild. If one wanted to obtain the Alchemist Guild's points, then one must provide a contribution to the Alchemist Guild, such as completing the assignments posted by the Alchemist Guild. Contributing some sort of rare medicinal material would also result in generous points. The old man gave Duan Tian an address. Duan Tian left the Li clan estate. Li Fei curiously followed along. This rundown place is the Alchemist Guild? After arriving at the end of a small alley and looking at the condemned building that looked like it would fall at any moment, the corners of Duan Tian's mouth twitched. But in the next moment, what Li Fei said caused Duan Tian to be completely speechless. Not bad. It's slightly better than the Weapons Craftsman Guild. Li Fei looked at the condemned building and judged. Duan Tian could only imagine how Aurora City's Weapons Craftsman Guild would undoubtedly be in an even more terrible state. When he walked in the Alchemist Guild, it was completely different to what he expected. Although the hall was old and worn out, it was very simple and clean. When they entered, besides the young girl behind the counter, there wasn't anybody else. The two of them walked to the counter. Customers, may I ask if you want to post an assignment or collect the medicinal pills that you entrusted to our Alchemist Guild to refine? The young girl had an ordinary appearance but was very animated. She had a pair of big eyes that were brimming with vigor. Ordinary people were able to post assignments in the Alchemist Guild by means of monetary payments and entrust the Alchemist Guild to refine the medicinal pill required. These assignments would be put up by the Alchemist Guild and offered to the alchemists of the Alchemist Guild to take on. The rewards of these assignments would be then converted to the Alchemist Guild points. These points were useless to ordinary people, but to an alchemist, they were extremely valuable. Sometimes, some alchemists would even spend large sums of money to post assignments which they would then complete themselves as a way to earn points. This was equivalent to using money in exchange for points. In the Alchemist Guild, according to the rules, money was restricted from being directly converted into points. But the proverbs were indeed correct. While the priest climbs a post, the devil climbs 10. I've come to register as a Grade 9 alchemist. Duan Tian lightly smiled as he proclaimed the reason of his arrival. Register as a Grade 9 alchemist? The young girl was stunned. She thought that she had heard wrong. This youth that looked even younger than her wanted to register as a Grade 9 alchemist? Let alone that fact that a Grade 9 alchemist must be a core formation stage martial artist. Even if this youth's natural talent in the martial Tao and alchemy was any better, it would still at least require spending a few years of bitter cultivation to condense the origin energy into pill fire after breaking through to the core formation stage. This was the iron law of the Cloud Continent. Duan Tian frowned as he asked, "What, you're not in charge?" Customer, wait a moment. I'll go get the guild master. Although the young girl felt it to be inconceivable, he was a customer after all, and she wasn't able to differentiate the truth of the matter, so she could only get Aurora City's Alchemist Guild's guild master. The young girl returned with an old man after a short moment. The old man was brimming with energy and vigor, and his eyes shone with a shrewd light. Who wants to register as a Grade 9 alchemist? The old man's gaze descended upon Duan Ling Tian and Li Fei, and his brows slightly furrowed. Me. Duan Ling Tian looked at the old man. The old man frowned as he shouted in a low voice, "You? Where did this little kid come from? Hurry up and go home. This isn't the place to joke around." "Geezer, how could you not have any manners?" Li Fei couldn't stand by and watch anymore. "Humph. What manners does a little girl like you know about? The two of you coming here to joke around. This is called manners?" For a moment there I even thought that Aurora City had a new alchemist, but I never imagined that it would turn out to be two kids who came to make a ruckus. As he finished speaking, the old man was slightly ashamed and irritated. "Geezer, nothing is absolute. Don't always look at the surface of things." Duan Ling Tian swept the old man with his indifferent gaze. As he finished speaking, he turned his palm upwards and a milky white pill fire jumped about on it. The old man and young girl were both dumbstruck. A grade 9 pill fire. It wasn't something they hadn't seen before, but it appearing in a 16-year-old youth's hand was something they saw for the first time. "Kid, do you have a master?" The old man's eyes shone. His attitude took a 360-degree turn as he looked at Duan Ling Tian as if looking at a treasure. "What nonsense! If I didn't have a master, would I be able to become a grade 9 alchemist at such an age?" Duan Ling Tian gave the old man a disdainful glance. He naturally was aware of the old man getting ideas of wanting to take him as a disciple, but as far as he was concerned, a mere grade 8 alchemist didn't have the qualifications to be his teacher at all. The old man's expression froze for a moment and briefly had embarrassment on it. The old man quickly helped Duan Ling Tian register and passed a grade 9 alchemist crest and a crystal card to Duan Ling Tian. The crystal card was the Alchemist Guild's exclusive point card. Duan Ling Tian could see that the remaining points inside were 0 when he circulated his origin energy into the crystal card. The old man looked at Duan Ling Tian and could not regain his senses for an extremely long time. A 16-year-old grade 9 alchemist? He suddenly felt that for all these years, the hidden bitterness he had accumulated for being sent to this desolate place had suddenly slightly dissipated. "Right, geezer, I need some materials," Duan Ling Tian said. "Kid, I'm not some geezer. I'm Aurora City's Alchemist Guild's guild master, Suimo. As for the materials you need, sure, as long as you can complete an assignment or contribute a medicinal formula, you can exchange them for some points and buy what you want with those points." Suimo glared at Duan Ling Tian. Then I'll post some assignments now." Duan Ling Tian withdrew a stack of silver bills. "Kid, I have to warn you. When it comes to the assignments that are posted by customers in the Alchemist Guild, I as the Alchemist Guild's guild master have the authority to take priority when accepting these assignments, so if you want to exchange for points with money, you better forget it." The corners of Sumo's mouth curled into a ridiculing smile, as if he had Duan Ling Tian in the palm of his hand. "Geezer, you're really shameless." Hearing what Sumo said, Li Fei couldn't take it anymore and said this on Duan Ling Tian's behalf. "Little girl, this isn't called shameless. I'm just abiding by the rules of the Alchemist Guild." The corners of Sumo's curled into a complacent simile. "You." Li Fei was flustered. "Little Fei, you don't have to get angry with an old man. The old man's heart isn't well. If you accidentally anger him until he faints, we will have to compensate a lot of money." Duan Ling Tian extended his hand and held on to Li Fei's jade-like hand. He rubbed her palm to make her feel at ease. Li Fei took a deep breath and looked at Duan Ling Tian with a puzzled expression. Duan Ling Tian looked at Suimo, whose expression froze for a moment. The corners of his mouth had a slight smile. "Wanting to steal his business? Help me register. I want to post an assignment." Duan Ling Tian looked at the young girl beside Suimo. The young girl was slightly hesitant and looked to the old man. "He's currently a customer of our Alchemist Guild. Pass the assignment over to me once you've registered it." Suimo nodded to the young girl. But in a short moment, when he heard the assignment Duan Ling Tian posted, the smile on his face completely froze. 10,000 silver. Refine 3 phosphorus flame pills. Phosphorus flame pill? What medicinal pill was that? He had never heard of such a medicinal pill. "Geezer, according to the Alchemist Guild's rules, If an alchemist can refine the medicinal pill required by an assignment, he can get an advance on the points required to buy the medicinal materials. They can then deduct the points from the assignment's reward once it is completed. I'm not wrong, am I? Duanling Tian gave Suimo a deep glance. Suimo felt slightly depressed. There indeed was such a rule. Suimo unwillingly took out the medicinal materials Duanling Tian required, also arranging a quiet room for Duanling Tian. Geezer, you won't mind lending your cauldron to me for a while, right? Duanling Tian blinked his eyes, causing the corners of Sumo's mouth to twitch. Lending is not a problem, but I have to ask for 10 points from you. Suimo took a deep breath. This kid, as an alchemist, he actually had to borrow a cauldron from another. Really unprofessional. 10 points? Duanling Tian frowned. This 10,000 silver assignment seems to be only worth 100 points, right? And the materials you gave me, how many points do they require? Not much, 30 points. When Suimo noticed the frown on Duanling Tian's face, his tense face finally had a slight smile on it. You're really shady, but you better not regret it. Duanling Tian received the cauldron from Suimo and gave Suimo a deep glance. Only then did he take Li Fei and enter the silent room and close the door behind him. Regret? What do I have to regret? Suimo paid no attention to it. In the quiet room, Duanling Tian shook the cauldron in his hand and nodded. That geezer is crafty, but his cauldron is indeed not bad and can be considered top quality among grade 8 spirit weapons. Alchemists had many requirements of their cauldrons when they refined medicinal pills. For example, a grade 9 alchemist required the use of a grade 9 spirit weapon or above cauldron to guarantee the cauldron wouldn't be melted by the pill fire. A grade 8 alchemist would require a grade 8 spirit weapon or above cauldron. So on and so forth. The higher the alchemist's grade, the higher their requirement towards their cauldron. You said you wanted to make that geezer be regretful? Li Fei looked at Duanling Tian curiously. You'll know soon enough. Duanling Tian smiled mysteriously. After putting the cauldron on the stone platform in the quiet room, Duanling Tian's palm burned with a milky white pill fire. Then he opened the cauldron cover and placed the pill fire within. At the same time, Duanling Tian started putting the materials in one by one. Refining medicinal pills was particular about the order in which medicinal materials were added in, as well as the amount. A small discrepancy could lead to a great error. After that was the control of the pill fire. When Duanling Tian finished putting all of the materials into the cauldron, he covered the cauldron. His origin energy jumped about in his palms and condensed into pill fire. He then put his hands on the 2 air vents of the cauldron and sent the pill fire in, starting to refine the medicinal pill with a pill fire of high strength. The string of moments were completed like flowing water, as if it was a performance by an alchemist with abundant experience. Li Fei, who was standing at the side, was completely stupefied as she watched. Is he really only 16? Li Fei's heart shook. Everything this youth in front of her was completely not something a 16-year-old youth should be capable of. She felt the youth to be even more mysterious. She had an unfathomable feeling. 1 hour later, Duanling Tian's hands jerked as his pill fire increased explosively, rushing into the cauldron. Pill harvest. Instantly, 3 medicinal pills that flickered with a crimson brilliance flew out from the opening in the side of the cauldron, falling into Duanling Tian's hand. My first time refining medicinal pills seems to be not bad. The purity is over 90%. Looking at the medicinal pills, Duanling Tian laughed in satisfaction. Even if they were refining the same medicinal pill, every alchemist's completed product would have a difference. A difference in purity. The lesser the impurities within the medicinal pill, the better the medicinal effect of the medicinal pill would be. If it was a phosphorus flame pill refined by an ordinary grade 9 alchemist, the purity would not exceed 60%. For example, Fresh Breeze Town's Lee Branch family's grand elder, the Thunder Flame pill he refined only had a purity of a little over 50%, so the medicinal effect was reduced significantly. The Phosphorus Flame pill was precisely the medicinal pill he refined for Li Fei's grandfather. Based on Li Fei's grandfather's current circumstances, only a Phosphorus Flame pill with a purity of over 80% would be able to completely uproot his hidden injuries. Therefore, Duan Ling Tian could only refine a high-purity medicinal pill by himself. Purity of above 90%. Any alchemist would be aware of how rare this level of purity was. Therefore, when Duan Ling Tian took the phosphorus flame pill to collect the assignment's points, Sumo's expression was abnormally marvelous. This? Picking up the phosphorus flame pill, Sumo's gaze trembled. Although he had never heard of the phosphorus flame pill, nor did he know its use, at this moment he could use the perception of a grade 8 alchemist to notice how extraordinary this medicinal pill was. Based on his rough estimate, this phosphorus flame pill had a purity of at least 90%. What sort of concept was this? As an alchemist, he naturally understood. Even a grade 1 alchemist of Cloud Continent would not necessarily be able to increase the purity to such a level when refining a grade 9 medicinal pill. After all, on a similar medicinal pill, a purity of 60% and 90% was absolutely like the difference between heaven and earth. The medicinal effect was completely not on the same level. Kid, how did you do it? Suemo looked at Duan Ling Tian in a slightly agitated manner. I casually refined it and it just happened. How about it? It's not bad, right? This is the first time I'm refining a medicinal pill since breaking through to the core formation stage yesterday. Duan Ling Tian glanced at Suemo before grinning, revealing a set of white teeth. Broke through to the core formation stage yesterday? First time refining a medicinal pill? Hearing this, the corners of Sumo's mouth twitched. Don't joke around. Suemo frowned. I'm not kidding. Duan Ling Tian spread out his hands with an innocent expression. I can bear witness. Noticing how Suemo looked right now, Li Fei's mood was exceptional and her beautiful face had a trace of a smile. Yesterday, in the youth gathering hosted in the Shao clan estate, numerous youth geniuses of Aurora City saw him break through with their own 2 eyes. Also, on this year's new Hidden Dragon list, he's ranked at the top. Ranked first in the Hidden Dragon list? Sumo's pupils constricted. He has been in Aurora City for a few years, so he had naturally heard of how the Aurora City young geniuses had a ranking called Hidden Dragon list. The young geniuses who could be ranked on the Hidden Dragon list were all extremely outstanding figures. I remember that the Shao clan Shao Yu obtained the 2nd rank in the Hidden Dragon list last year when he was 17. This year, could it be that he still lost to this kid? Suemo glanced at Li Fei before looking at Duan Ling Tian with a shocked expression. Li Fei's beautiful eyes slightly moved as she slowly said, yes, this time Shao Yu is still the 2nd. Suemo exhaled out a breath of cold air. A 16-year-old core formation martial artist was more than enough to shock him. A 16-year-old grade 9 alchemist was even more shocking to him. But even all this wasn't the end. First, it was the over 90% purity medicinal pill. Then it was the first in the Hidden Dragon list. This violet-clothed youth, what kind of freak was he? Even in the entire Crimson Sky Kingdom, he had never once heard of such a freak. Duan Ling Tian. Suemo deeply remembered in his heart the name which the youth revealed during his registration. It's done. The young girl behind the counter returned the crystal card to Duan Ling Tian. Balance, 60 points. Let's go home. Duan Ling Tian snatched the phosphorus flame pill back from Sumo's hands and called Li Fei. Seeing Duan Ling Tian and Li Fei about to walk out the door, Suemo couldn't help but call out, wait, is there something else? Duan Ling Tian turned around and looked at him with a spurious smile. You said earlier that you hoped I wouldn't regret it. I want to know, what did you mean? Suemo inquired. If it was before, he would pay no attention to what Duan Ling Tian had said. But once he experienced how miraculous Duan Ling Tian was, he had to treat him seriously. Actually, it's not a big deal. I just noticed that you've been trying to break through to become a grade 7 alchemist, but you seem to have diverted off the right path. Originally, with your current foundation, you could perfectly break through to become a grade 7 alchemist. Such a pity. Duan Ling Tian's eyebrows furrowed as he smiled. Sumo's face instantly turned black. Even this was considered to be not a big deal? At this moment, he even felt that Duan Ling Tian had done it on purpose. Okay, geezer, I still have things to do, so I'll be leaving now. Duan Ling Tian waved his hand and was about to leave. Wait. Suemo once again stopped Duan Ling Tian. There's still something else? Duan Ling Tian frowned and was slightly impatient. But if one looked at closely, it could be noticed that deep within his eyes was a hidden, smiling expression. You have a way? Suemo asked. His breathing had become slightly hurried. Yes. Duan Ling Tian gave a straightforward answer. What are your conditions? Suemo didn't mince his words as he asked with a pained expression. He knew that based on Duan Ling Tian's earlier attitude, he probably would have to bleed for it. I won't be greedy. I only want half the points in your crystal card. Duan Ling Tian grinned. Even that wasn't considered greedy? That was the points he had accumulated for half his lifetime. The corners of Sumo's mouth twitched and he secretly thought, little fox. I agree. But Suemo still decisively agreed upon his conditions, and his gaze descended unto Duan Ling Tian. But I want to examine the goods first before I give you the points. What? You're scared I'll cheat you? Then forget it. We don't owe each other anything. Duan Ling Tian extended his hand and grabbed Li Fei's hand before walking away with quick steps. Whoosh. Instantly, Suemo blocked their passage. On top of being a grade 8 alchemist, Suemo was also a 9th level origin core martial artist. Even in the entire Aurora City, in the 3 great clans, only the few supreme elders were slightly more formidable than Suemo. However, with Sumo's status as a grade 8 alchemist coupled with the alchemist guild that backed him, even when the supreme elders of the 3 great clans saw him, they would still politely call him Guildmaster Su. Hand over your crystal card. Suemo looked at Duan Ling Tian and extended his hand. Although he felt helpless in his heart, he chose to compromise. What Duan Ling Tian said earlier was something he had noticed long ago. However, he didn't possess the experience of a grade 7 alchemist, and thus could only stubbornly continue on the path he was on and stumble along the way. Now that he had a chance to break through to become a grade 7 alchemist, he naturally wouldn't let it go easily. As far as he was concerned, as long as he broke through and became a grade 7 alchemist, he could apply to the Alchemist Guild and leave this damnable place. Aurora City, in the entirety of the Crimson Sky Kingdom, it was only a small city. In the past, were it not for him offending a person who had both power and authority, it would be unlikely that he would have been sent here. As long as he breaks through to become a grade 7 alchemist, that person will be helpless to do anything to him. A grade 7 alchemist and grade 8 alchemist, although a difference of only 1 grade, the difference was like heaven and earth. In the vast Crimson Sky Kingdom, there were an entire 1,000 plus grade 8 alchemists who had registered themselves in the Alchemist Guild, whereas there were only just a few tens of grade 7 alchemists. A grade 7 alchemist had an honorable standing. Even the imperial family of Crimson Sky Kingdom would extend an olive branch to them. Geezer, don't worry. You won't suffer any losses. Duan Ling Tian held back his smile in the corners of his mouth as he handed over the crystal card. Quickly, the crystal card in Sumo's hand flicked and showed its balance. 10,000 points. Catching sight of this number, Duan Ling Tian couldn't help but be dumbfounded. After all, 10,000 silver was only worth 100 points. These 10,000 points, if exchanged into silver, that would be 1 million silver. 1 million silver, what kind of concept was that? In next to no time, Duan Ling Tian's crystal card had an extra 5,000 points, totaling to 5,060 points. Duan Ling Tian received the crystal card with satisfaction as he smiled and said, Geezer, I originally only intended to ask for a third of your net worth, but who asked you to cheat 10 points off me when I only borrowed your cauldron? Likewise, I can't go easy on you. The corners of Sumo's mouth twitched. Didn't that mean that he had given up nearly 2,000 points for 10 points? Even his intestines turned green from regret. Li Fei laughed like a flower. She finally understood what Duan Ling Tian meant when he said, You better not regret it. So it turned out that he had schemed this all along. Starting from noon tomorrow, come look for me at the Li clan. Right? Remember to eat before coming. I don't provide food. Duan Ling Tian grabbed Li Fei's hand, walked around Suemo, and walked away. Suemo looked at their disappearing figures, and his eyes narrowed. The Li clan. When did they have such a figure? On the way back. You're too ruthless, directly cheating him off half his points. Li Fei looked at Duanling Tian as she smiled. But after seeing Su Imo be thwarted, her heart was filled with pleasure. Who asked him to cheat me first? Asking for 10 points just to casually use his lousy cauldron for a while, that's an entire 1,000 silver. Duanling Tian had a pained expression as he spoke. Took 1,000 silver, but lost 500,000 silver. I wonder if he will sleep tonight. Li Fei giggled. Duanling Tian was entranced. What are you looking at? Li Fei asked angrily. Little Fei, my wife, you're truly beautiful. Duanling Tian said eagerly. Pei, who's your wife? Go look for your heir. You're so overly jealous, but you still don't admit to being my wife? I'm not. Then I'll just have to turn around and pursue Xiaolan. Don't you dare. Amidst the frolicking, Duanling Tian and Li Fei returned to the Li clan estate and subsequently Li Fei's home. You've finished refining so quickly? When the old man saw the 3 medicinal pills Duanling Tian passed over to him, he was stupefied. I didn't spend much time because it's only a grade 9 medicinal pill. Duanling Tian lightly smiled. Where did you get the cauldron from? Don't tell me that in just this amount of time, you refined a cauldron yourself. The old man looked at Duanling Tian as if he was looking at a freak. Well, no. Duanling Tian smiled embarrassedly. Grandfather, he used the cauldron of our Aurora City's Alchemist Guild's Guildmaster Su Imo. But that Su Imo is really stingy. He actually asked Duanling Tian for 1,000 silver just to use his cauldron for an hour. Li Fei's beautiful eyebrows slightly knit, and her face was filled with dissatisfaction as she spoke. Is that so? Isn't it only 1,000 silver? Grandfather can still afford it. As the old man spoke, he looked at Duanling Tian. Kid, how much did these 3 medicinal pills cost in total? I'll pay for them together. Grandfather, this is my gift to you. I don't dare to take your money. When the old man said those words, Duanling Tian noticed Li Fei glaring at him in a threatening manner that said, If you dare take my grandfather's money, I won't forgive you. Haha. All right. In any case, this old man's money will be Fei's in the future anyway. The old man nodded and didn't insist. In his heart, he had already taken Duanling Tian as his future son-in-law. Grandfather, what are you talking about? You'll definitely live a long life. As for this guy, he doesn't lack money. He just cheated Su Imo off 500,000 silver. Li Fei scowled, selling out Duanling Tian in the blink of an eye. 500,000 silver? The old man was dumbstruck. Although he was a grade 9 weapons craftsman, even all the wealth he had accumulated during half his lifetime wasn't worth 500,000 silver. What happened? The old man was curious. Li Fei told the old man the sequence of events. Haha. In that case, Guildmaster Su hurt himself by his own doing this time. The old man couldn't hold back his laughter. The old man's laughter vanished before long as he looked at Duanling Tian with a serious expression. Kid, you can consider yourself lucky this time. This Guildmaster Su is famous for his good temper. Next time, you can't use similar methods to dupe other powerhouses. Otherwise, once he attains his goal and comes for your life, you will lose more than you gained. Don't worry, grandfather. I'm aware of what I should do. Duanling Tian nodded with an air of being educated. However, in his heart, he was thinking of something else. What the old man said was something he had long ago thought of, and he even had a way to cope with it which would guarantee his safety. In a vast courtyard, an incredibly swift figure pointed out his finger as he flashed about, causing a piercing howl to explode out. Dark nether finger. The figure was precisely Li Qing. His right index finger had been completely connected and healed already, and he was in the process of testing the degree of recovery. Clang. Dark nether finger flashed out, hitting a stone pillar in the courtyard. Instantly, with the point of impact as the center, fissures split open in the stone pillar before exploding with a loud bang. Ah! Li Qing let out a shrill cry. As he gripped his right index finger, cold sweat flowed out. Qing, what's wrong? The person who was observing from the sidelines was a tall, elderly old man. He walked over with large strides and had a trace of worry between his brows. It was precisely Li Qing's grandfather, the Li clan's grand elder. Li Tai. Grandfather, my dark nether finger is crippled. Li Qing's face was pale as he was unable to accept this fact. In order to cultivate dark nether finger, only he was clear of how much mental and physical effort he expended. Finger techniques, besides their formidable might, were also 10 times more difficult to cultivate than regular martial skills. If he could take the mental and physical effort he expended on dark nether finger and use it on a different high-grade profound rank offense martial skill, he would have long ago cultivated it to the perfection stage. Qing, if you can't use your right index finger, then use your left index finger. Grandfather believes that you'll be able to recover your dark nether finger's former might. Li Tai consoled. Li Qing had an ugly expression and said, in an unresigned manner, that would mean I need to start cultivating dark nether finger all over again. Moreover, I'm not left-handed, so if I want to cultivate dark nether finger to the mastery stage once more, it will be many times more difficult than before. It's all that Duan Ling Tian's fault. It's all because of him. If it wasn't for him, how could this index finger of mine have been cut off? Grandfather, I want him dead. I want to kill him. I want to kill him. Li Qing suddenly went mad. He had a savage expression as he howled. Li Tai took a deep breath. His murky eyes flashed with a cold light. Duan Ling Tian. Qing, don't worry. Grandfather will get justice for you. He's only just a branch family disciple, and if you want him dead, then he can't live. Li Tai's voice emitted a trace of coldness. Thank you, grandfather. Thank you, grandfather. Hearing what Li Tai said, Li Qing's mood finally eased up. On the other side, after Duan Ling Tian finished telling the old man of the precautions before consuming the phosphorus flame pill, he left and headed home. He happened to bump into a person walking out of his own courtyard. Young Master Ling Tian. The person smiled to Duan Ling Tian before leaving. Duan Ling Tian recognized him. This person was precisely the person who sent the hidden dragon invitation to him, a member of the Shao clan. Duan Ling Tian guessed the reason he came. The Shao clan's operations are indeed quick. Duan Ling Tian walked in and saw his mother sorting a pile of things. They were precisely the prizes for the first ranked in the hidden dragon list. Tian, you were ranked first in the hidden dragon list? Li Ro noticed Duan Ling Tian had returned and gave him a spurious smile. Duan Ling Tian smiled as he said, Mom, you're unhappy? Of course I'm happy. My Tian is really extraordinary. Li Ro lightly nodded. For a moment, she couldn't help but think of her long-lost husband. Her son had inherited her husband's natural talent in the martial Tao. Little Black, where are you going? Abruptly, Ku'er's voice sounded from inside her room. Whoosh! A black bolt of lightning flashed out and coiled itself around Duan Ling Tian's wrist. It was precisely the little black python that had gone into a deep slumber for more than a month after consuming half the beast core of the snow python. Hiss hiss. The little black python flicked its tongue towards Duan Ling Tian and was extremely happy. Duan Ling Tian noticed that the little black python had changed. The gold markings on its body were much more profound. Its pupils had now transformed into golden pupils that seemed incomparably fierce. Moreover, the little black python's speed just now had obviously greatly surpassed its mother's, the black python. Little Black, looks like you've undergone a metamorphosis. Duan Ling Tian rubbed the little black python's small head as he lightly smiled. Young master. Meanwhile, Ku'er had come out too. When the little white python that was coiled on her wrist noticed Duan Ling Tian, it was slightly joyous as well. The little white python was similar to the little black python. They both had undergone great changes. The silver markings on its body were much more profound as well. Its pupils had transformed into silver pupils. Duan Ling Tian took notice of the changes in the two variant little pythons. They were the offspring of the snow python. After a while of probing, Duan Ling Tian discovered that even if he fully exploded forth with the entire strength of his fleshly body and origin energy, relying on the strength of 4 ancient mammoths and executing spirit serpent movement technique, His speed was still far inferior to the two little pythons. Good heavens! Duan Ling Tian was shocked ineffably. Your speed is swift, but I wonder how your strength is. Duan Ling Tian brought the two little pythons to a side of the courtyard. There was a whole row of stone pillars there, and they were provided to be used for his usual cultivation. Collapsing fist. Duan Ling Tian took a few steps forward and punched out. A gust of wind swept by as his fist blasted a stone pillar in half. Hiss hiss. The pupils of the two little pythons shined as they transformed into two bolts of black and white lightning, flashing towards another stone pillar. Duan Ling Tian noticed that in the sky, 20 ancient mammoth silhouettes had appeared out of thin air. An ordinary martial artist would need to cultivate to the 7th level of the core formation stage before being able to exert such a strength. Clang, clang. The two bolts of lightning immediately pierced straight through the stone pillar, leaving behind two small holes on the stone pillar. This? Duan Ling Tian's pupils constricted. The small holes that the two little pythons pierced through were extremely smooth and did not leave a single crack on the stone pillar. It was imaginable how condensed the piercing attacks of the two little pythons were. They were completely condensed to a single point. This could be said to be perfect. The two of you are the real freaks. Duan Ling Tian's gaze descended onto the heads of the two little pythons. Those two small bulges had already started to blossom. On the little black python's bulge, a trace of a golden horn emerged. On the little white python's bulge, a trace of a silver horn emerged. Their respective strengths are comparable to a 7th level core formation martial artist. However, even a 7th level core formation martial artist might not be their match. After all, their bodies are small and they have swift speeds, so they hold a huge advantage. Duan Ling Tian exhaled a breath of cold air. Luckily, these two variant little pythons weren't his enemies. If he had such enemies, just thinking about it caused Duan Ling Tian's scalp to go numb. Ku Er, who was watching from the side, had long since been struck dumb. Little White, so it turned out to be that you're so formidable. Ku Er had a light smile on her face as she rubbed the small head of the little white python. The little white python seemed to have noticed that Ku Er was praising it, as it complacently lifted its small head up and playfully flicked its tongue. That night, Duan Ling Tian passed down a top-tier cultivation method to his mother. This cultivation method was called Demonic Beauty Divine Technique. It was one of the top cultivation methods that the Rebirth Martial Emperor had gathered during his first lifetime, and it was the cultivation method cultivated by the Demonic Beauty Martial Emperor of that time. Thus, it could be cultivated until the Martial Emperor stage. This cultivation method. After Li Ro grasped the Demonic Beauty Divine Technique, she realized how terrifying this cultivation method was. She felt slightly numbed. Her son truly had too many secrets. The Frost God Sword technique that Ku Er cultivated seems to not be inferior to this Demonic Beauty Divine Technique. Mom, patiently comprehend it once more. I'll go buy medicinal materials tomorrow and refine a spirit containment pill for you. At that time, the spirit containment pill will absorb all of your origin energy and contain it within. Once you've completed your change of cultivation method to the Demonic Beauty Divine Technique, you can release the origin energy that was contained within the spirit containment pill, allowing you to recover your full strength or even become stronger in half a month's time. Good. Li Ro looked at Duan Ling Tian dotingly as she nodded continuously. In the morning the next day, Duan Ling Tian took Ku Er along as he left the Li clan estate and arrived at the trade market. First, he collected his account balance from the medicine store manager and once again concocted 2 crocks of 6 treasures body tempering liquid. Only after finishing did Duan Ling Tian proclaim the reason he came. The medicinal materials for the spirit containment pill were all quite ordinary. After a short moment, the medicine store manager finished preparing them for Duan Ling Tian. Manager, how much are all these medicinal materials? Duan Ling Tian asked. Customer, the total for all these medicinal materials are only just a few hundred silver. You don't have to pay for them. The medicine store manager's face was filled with smiles. Since Duan Ling Tian started to consign his 6 treasures body tempering liquid for sale at this medicine store, His medicine store could be considered to be raking in money. God knows how many medicine stores were filled with envy and jealousy. Then I'll help myself. Duan Ling Tian nodded. After giving the manager a deep glance, he left with cool air. Originally, Duan Ling Tian thought that the manager would meet with some trouble from the 6 treasures body-tempering liquid's huge sale. After all, there were surely many people who coveted it. But up until now, the manager didn't face a sliver of trouble, meaning that he obviously wasn't as simple as he seemed to be on the surface. But this didn't have anything much to do with Duan Ling Tian. After he and Ku Er arrived home, he entered his room and prepared to refine the spirit containment pill. Whoosh! With but a thought, he withdrew a cauldron from his spatial ring. The cauldron had an exquisite look. It had 9 extremely lifelike 5-clawed divine dragons carved on all sides. It was precisely the cauldron that Li Fei's grandfather gave him. Originally, he wasn't willing to take away the old man's prized possession. But the old man persisted, so in the end, even Li Fei persuaded him to take it. Looks like grandfather's teacher from all those years ago was remarkable. This cauldron already has a trace of a grade 7 spirit weapon's aura. Duan Ling Tian's pupils constricted and briefly flashed with a slight surprise. The material of this cauldron, F***K. It can't be. 1,000-year dark iron? After a short moment, Duan Ling Tian's hands trembled and he spouted out vulgarities in pleasant surprise. The 1,000-year dark iron is a type of extremely valuable weapon crafting material. Its limit is being able to withstand a grade 6 weapon flame. In other words, the 1,000-year dark iron was sufficient to refine a grade 6 spirit weapon. The entire body is made of 1,000-year dark iron. Extravagant, too extravagant. With this cauldron as a foundation, in the future, even when I become a grade 6 alchemist, I won't need to change to another cauldron because I can directly refine this one into a grade 6 spirit weapon. Duan Ling Tian's eyes shone with a brilliant light. After merging with the memories of Rebirth Martial Emperor, he was now not only an alchemist with abundant experience, he was also a weapons craftsman with abundant experience. Before long, Duan Ling Tian started refining the medicinal pill. When compared to the phosphorus flame pill, the refining process of the spirit containment pill was much simpler. After spending half an hour, Duan Ling Tian completed the spirit containment pill refinement and had refined a total of 2 pills. One of the pills was for his mother to consume. The other, he planned to keep it for Li Fei. After passing the spirit containment pill to his mother and informing her of the method to consume the pill and its necessary precautions, Duan Ling Tian returned to his room. He started cultivating. 9 dragons war sovereign technique, raging python form. At present, Duan Ling Tian had already developed his origin energy and became a martial artist at the first level of the core formation stage. If he was cultivating an ordinary cultivation method, the next step would be to charge towards the second level of the core formation stage. However, due to the uniqueness of the 9 dragons war sovereign technique, what he needed to do now was use his origin energy to further temper his fleshly body and increase the limits of his fleshly body, thus allowing the strength of his fleshly body to increase from the strength of 3 ancient mammoths to the strength of 4 ancient mammoths. Once the tempering is completed, he will have an extra strength of 1 ancient mammoth. At that time, even though he will still be a martial artist at the first level of the core formation stage, he will be a martial artist at the first level of the core formation stage that possesses the strength of 5 ancient mammoths. In terms of strength, he will be superior to a martial artist at the third level of the core formation stage and inferior to one at the fourth level. An ordinary martial artist at the third level of the core formation stage possessed the strength of 4 ancient mammoths. Like the former Fresh Breeze Town branch family's 7th elder, Li Kuan. A martial artist at the 4th level of the core formation stage, on the other hand, possessed the strength of 6 ancient mammoths. Like his mother, tempering the fleshly body with origin energy, it's really exciting. In accordance with the Raging Python form's mental cultivation method, Duan Ling Tian started tempering his fleshly body with origin energy for a short moment before his body trembled, causing him to immediately stop. His face emitted a bitter smile. Contrary to expectations, Tempering the fleshly body with origin energy didn't cause him to feel any pain. However, the feeling of numbness, itchiness, and limpness he felt in his entire body caused him to feel extremely distressed. If an example was really given, it would be similar to thousands of ants crawling around inside his flesh. This type of feeling caused suffering that was even worse than direct pain. Bring it on. Gritting his teeth, Duan Ling Tian had a resolute gaze. As a result of the origin energy's tempering, the fleshly body became even more condensed. The lifeblood and fleshly body that originally were at the threshold were now unendingly growing and undergoing transformations at an extremely fast pace. No pain, no gain. Duan Ling Tian deeply understood this logic. After continuously cultivating until noon, Duan Ling Tian was drenched in sweat and his clothes were soaked through, slimy, and extremely uncomfortable. After taking a bath and changing into some clean and dry clothes, only then did Duan Ling Tian walk out of his room. At noon, while Duan Ling Tian was eating with his family, an unexpected guest arrived. Guildmaster Su, Duan Ling Tian stays here. Outside the courtyard, a respectful voice sounded. Tian, someone's looking for you? Li Ro glanced at Duan Ling Tian. It's nothing, let him wait. Let's have lunch first. Duan Ling Tian had a tranquil expression, continuing to clamp food with his chopsticks naturally and smoothly. Duan Ling Tian, I'm the inner court's manager, Li Chong. Guildmaster Su wants to see you. Outside the courtyard, a shout echoed out and entered the courtyard. Ask him to come in himself. Duan Ling Tian was slightly impatient. Outside the courtyard, Li Chong was struck dumb. This Duan Ling Tian was really unruly. Who was this old man that stood beside him? This was a figure that even their Li clan's patriarch would have to greet in respect. He was Aurora City's Alchemist Guild's guildmaster. Suimo. Su. Guildmaster Su. Duan Ling Tian is young and inexperienced. How about? Cold sweat poured out of Li Chong as he gazed at the old man with a bitter smile, deeply afraid that the old man would be enraged because of this. But in the next moment, he was completely stupefied. You can leave, I'll go in myself. Suimo nodded to Li Chong and flicked out a medicinal pill towards him. After Li Chong caught the medicinal pill, he that noticed Suimo wasn't angry nor irritated, so he slowly walked into Duan Ling Tian's house courtyard. Origin increasing pill. When he clearly saw the medicinal pill in his hand, Li Chong's gaze shone. This origin increasing pill was worth 5,000 silver. As expected of the Alchemist Guild's guildmaster, he's really generous. All I did was show him the way, and he gave me an origin increasing pill. Li Chong took a deep breath, slightly excited. Even though he was the Li clan's inner court manager, his monthly pay was only 1,000 silver. Normally, he loathed buying himself some origin increasing pills to increase his cultivation. Just when he was about to turn around and leave, a voice sounded from the courtyard behind him, causing his expression to freeze. He was nearly scared shitless. Geezer, you've come so early. It can't be that you came here to get a free meal, right? Let me tell you first, I didn't prepare any tableware for you.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe.